New York City, the site of the All-Star game here in July, and the Yankees and the Indians tonight. Starter for the Yankees is Andy Pettitte, and Andy Pettitte's been having a problem in the fifth inning his last two starts against Cleveland, rolling along, and then all of a sudden he serves up back-to-back blast. Johnny Peralta first with a 3-run home run, and then a solo shot by Franklin Gutierrez, and Andy Pettitte just lost it that inning. Now, his next start was here at Yankee Stadium, and it was against the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday, and Marcus Timms goes yard in the fifth inning. So obviously Andy Pettitte having some struggles in that inning, and obviously very upset about it as well. You'll see his reaction here in the dugout, none too pleased about how he's giving it up in that inning. Back here on Yankee Baseball, that's David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. It's a simple question. It might not have a simple answer. Why the fifth inning? Is he running out of gas?
Well, that could be part of it. But, his real problem is against right-handed batters. When he tries to throw his changeup or his sinker, which moves away from his normal strength, his cutter, it's cutting back. So when he's trying to throw those pitches off of his cutter, they're doing just the same thing his cutter does, and they're coming right back over the middle of the plate. Those are launched for home runs. And he's got to get his changeup down and away. He's got to get his sinker to move the opposite way that his cutter normally moves.
Now, wouldn't fatigue, though, make it seem like the changeup you'd be slower through the zone?
Possibly. I know he did admit that hot night we did in Cleveland that he did look worn out after that game. Now, the next couple of nights weren't that bad of weather. We have noticed that he hasn't thrown over 100 pitches or has only been at 100 pitches once this year. So the minute Andy gets in the 90-pitch range, you start watching him after these last two starts.
Well, we'll watch him right from the very beginning. When we come back, lineups, first pitch baseball right here on Yes. Andy Pettitte is taking his warm-ups, and we're taking a look now at the Indians starting lineup presented by Rico. They don't score many runs. Grady Sizemore in center leads off. Jamie Carroll in second. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop. Cleaning up, first baseman Ryan Garco. Franklin Gutierrez in right. Travis Hafner, good against the Yankees, struggling lately. He's the DH. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh, just called up left fielder Ben Francisco. Kelly Shopik will catch. Victor Martinez, stiff next, late scratch. And Andy Marte, third baseman, will bat ninth. Andy Pettitte making his 400th career start, his seventh start of the year, 3-3, 3.93, more than a hit per inning, and about a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. And the home runs he's given up, all 5 have been against right-handed batters. Grady Sizemore's ready, Pettitte's ready. Let's do it. The first pitch is a strike. Let's take a look at the Jeep pitcher scouting report, David.
Yeah, well, we got left is right. Lefty's hitting 189 this year as opposed to righty's hitting 324 off of Andy. Make the change, get that change up, down and away. It's the key for him getting out righties. And sink the sinker. He's had trouble. His sinker's cutting back over the middle of the plate. Those are home run pitches he's been giving up, and that's really the key for him getting out right-handed batters.
Just underway here at the stadium. Pettitte deals the 1-1 to Sizemore, and the pitch outside, 2-1. Sizemore, 25 years old, already a star center fielder, and he is an icon in Cleveland. Foul back. Count 2-2. Hey, get the best in HD free with IO TV because everything about HD is better with IO, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball. Sizemore missed the last 2 games of the 4-game set against the Yankees in Cleveland with a sprained right ankle. But he's back in the lineup and he hits a fly ball to left field. Johnny Damon is there and he'll put it away for the first out of the game. Missing that game against the Yankees broke a string of 382 straight games for Sizemore. At the time, that was the longest active streak. So 1 down.
It's a great start for Andy there. Come inside on Sizemore, tie him up with a fastball. Clearly beat him. Got the pop up to left field.
Now here's Jamie Carroll. 4 for his last 24. And there's a strike. Now David gave the numbers. Left-handers hit 189 against Pettit. Righties 324, which is a complete opposite of the way it used to be because Andy had that boring cutter. Not boring in the sense that it provoked boredom, but it just bore in on the hands, and you couldn't hit it. But what's happening now that righties are doing so much damage?
Yeah, he's kind of gotten away from his strength. He's not throwing that last pitch to that curveball. That's something he's really going to drop in there for strikes early in the count on righties. I'd like to see him double up right there. There's 2 straight curveballs, and if he can get ahead with that particular pitch, then he can go to his cutter, and he still needs to work his sinker and his changeup off of that cutter. And he doesn't have a feel for his changeup. He's been giving up some big home runs on off-speed pitches.
1-2. Grounded foul. Hey, you can listen to Yankees baseball in Spanish by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. Crowd still filing in the Yankee Stadium on a beautiful Tuesday evening in New York. The 1-2. Pitch inside, 2-2.
You know, Michael, you and I have talked about this, in terms of a clock and Andy's release point. And he's always been able to throw that cutter inside to righties. He's always struggled with getting to the other side of the plate, the outside part of the plate to right-handed batters.
Got in on the fist right there. Molina behind the plate. 2 away. We mentioned it was a beautiful evening. Let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. Temperature 72 degrees, not much humidity, not much wind. And the forecast is for partly cloudy, but once it gets dark, you won't see it, so not a big deal.
We'll see Andy here in this last pitch. This is his bread and butter. You see that tight little spin on his cutter? Gets inside. Actually, Jamie Carroll's a little quick on it. Gets it off the end of the bat. And that's an easy play for Jose Molina right there.
It was Johnny Peralta, and there's a strike. Yankees catch a break in the original lineup. Victor Martinez was batting third, scratched with a stiff neck, and he is listed as day-to-day. Grounded to third. Wilson Bettamy just off the DL. Fires to first, and that'll do it. Andy Pettit with a 1-2-3 inning against the Indians. Cleveland nothing, and the New York Yankees coming to bat. He wasn't in the Yankee lineup that day. He was in the Red Sox lineup. But let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Rico. And it will face Fausto Carmona. Red Hot Johnny Damon in left leads off. Red Hot Derek Jeter, the captain, and the shortstop bats second. Bobby Abreu's in right field. He'll hit third. Hideki Matsui carries a 14-game hitting streak into this one. He'll DH and clean up. Batting fifth and playing first, Jason Giambi. Melky Cabrera in center will bat sixth. The number 7 hitter with a home run on Sunday, second baseman Robinson Cano. Wilson Betemit up the DL after a battle with conjunctivitis. He'll be at third base batting eighth, and batting ninth and catching Jose Molina. Numbers on Carmona, 3-1 with a 2.60, about a hit per inning. Way too many walks. That's not him, and 13 strikeouts. Let's take a look now at the Jeep pitcher scouting report.
Well, you said it, Michael. Walk on the wild side. I mean, he's 2-to-1 ratio, only in reverse. 26 walks, 13 Ks. He had a high of 8 versus Oakland 3 starts ago. Turning 2, he's a double play master. 32 ground ball double plays in 07, led the major leagues, leading again this year with 13. And he was a 19-game winner last year. 19 games, 19-8 with a 3.06 ERA.
He finished 4th in the Cy Young voting last year. The 0-1 to Damon. Grounded up the middle. Peralta right there. And there's one away. David, why would there be such a change? Last year he averaged 2.6 walks per 9 inning. Now 6.7. What's up?
Well, it's his second time around the league. He's only had 1 full year really in the major leagues as a starter. And the more times around the circuit you go, the more people see that sinker. They're going to start sitting on that sinker, much like Chen-Ming Wong. And he's going to have to develop his secondary pitches. And it looks like he's struggled so far this year. And if I'm a hitter facing Fausto Carmona, I'm thinking make him get the ball up. If that sinker's down, just lay off of it. It looks like he's missing down a lot this year.
There's Derek Jeter, 11 for his last 26, and there's a strike. The Indians look at Carmona as the guy that will ascend to the role of ace if CC Sabathia goes away at the end of the year as a free agent. Rounded up the middle. Nice play there by Peralta. From his knees, fires not in time. Infield single for Derek Jeter.
You can see Carmona just comes with his patented little 2-seam sinker, heavy ball. Jeter stays on it. About a 5-hopper up the middle, and there's no way to get Jeter. Jeter's still very fast out of the box.
Let's take a look at the IOTV HD Super Shot.
Did a good job of getting to this ball, but it's just no way for him to get up quickly enough. And Derek perennially has been one of the fastest right-handed batters out of the box. He really had no chance right there.
So now with Jeter on first, that'll bring up Bobby Abreu. 10 for his last 24 over his last 6 games. A 417 clip. He has a lot of the right side to aim for with Garco holding on Jeter. Pitch outside.
Michael, we're talking about Carmona. He's got great stuff, and no doubt about it. His first full season as a starter, he won 19 games. You said he finished 4th in the Cy Young, but that's still 1 year. And I always thought as a starting pitcher, it takes you 3, 4, 5 years to really establish yourself as a reliable #1 guy.
And it is amazing how a league could catch up with you. I mean, if you have the slightest flaw or weakness, somebody's going to pick it up.
Well, they are. Undoubtedly, as you see CC Sabathia there, and what a formidable 1-2 punch they were last postseason. Really turned it up on the Yankees last year. And they are very talented, make no mistake about it. But this guy is far from establishing himself as a #1 starter.
Count 3-0. Now, if he has difficulties throwing strikes against the rest of the league, the Yankees will only make it worse because they do not expand the zone. Now, he did not face them in that 4-game set because he pitched the day before against the Kansas City Royals. And the bottom line is he'll walk more than 6 in this start against the Yankees if he continues to miss the corners. And there's a walk. Yankees are not going to help him out.
No, you can almost see that he's really overthrowing a little bit there. He's missing by a lot. I mean, there's a 3-0 fastball right there, and that was more than a foot outside. So certainly he's got great arm speed. He's got great movement. tendency for young pitchers to overthrow and try to accentuate that arm speed. And there you go right there. 6.7 walks and 9 innings pitched this season. Compared to last year, he didn't really have that problem last year, but it was the first time around the league. A lot of guys are swinging early in the count. Once you go around twice, the hitters get used to you. The scouting reports get better. You're going to get a better look at Fausto Carmona this year. And so far, he's been walking the yard.
Here's Matsui, a 14-game hitting streak, and the last 5 pitches haven't been close.
That's just a classic case of overthrowing. You got a good arm, you want to show it off. And see Carl Willis there, the pitching coach, and that look on his face tells you a lot. Just exasperation. And you want to go out there and put yourself in the kid's body and say, hey, you got great stuff. Just let it work for you. Don't try to do too much with it.
And a strike, count 1-1. Jeter's on second. Abreu is on first. We're in the bottom of the first inning, just underway here at the stadium. Indians went down in order against Andy Pettit in the top of the first. The 1-1. 1-2, 95-mile-an-hour fastball by Carmona.
Everything happened so fast for Carmona last year. It seemed like he really struggled the previous year. He was 1-10 with a 5.42 ERA back in 06, and tried him in the closer's role, and they thought they ruined him. He gave up some big home runs late in games and decided to make the switch to the rotation. Had a great year last year, trying to avoid the sophomore slump. The second full year as a starter. And it's easy to get high on a guy like this, Michael, and I have no problem with that. I can understand why Cleveland's high on Carmona, and he's got that kind of stuff. And you see the contrast there. They're trying to figure out what to do with his arm. They thought maybe he'd be in the bullpen in 06. Made the transition to starter in 07. Had a great year. But as I said before, he's far from being a legitimate bona fide #1 starter. He's got to prove himself at least a couple more years, certainly this year and the next year. And to me, that's when you've been around the league 2 or 3 times. That's when you really establish yourself.
Lofted into center field, a base hit. Jeter rounds third. They're going to hold him right there as Sizemore comes up throwing and goes all the way home to shop it. So a 15-game hitting streak for Matsui, and the Yankees have the bases loaded, 1 out.
See pitch by pitch here to Matsui. Way up and away with a fastball. Goes to the changeup there, gets a strike. Another fastball away, fouled off. Down with the sinker. Changeup. Matsui stays on it, lines it to left center. Right on that pitch. As you see Matsui stay with it. Kind of a one-hopper to Grady Sizemore. Great outfielder, good throw to home. No chance to go home there. Good play by Bobby Meacham, the third base coach, to hold up Jeter right there.
So the Yankees set up early now to give Andy Pettit a lead. We've got the bases loaded and Giambi at the plate. And Jason has decided to put the pants down around the shoe tops. He had been hiking them up, showing a lot of blue on Saturday and Sunday, but his slump continues, so he decided to go back with what he's comfortable with. 1 for his last 22 is Giambi.
You got to kind of get the sense that Jason's got a little superstition in him, maybe a little Wade Boggs, not quite to that extreme, but he certainly thinks about how he looks and how he goes about it.
1-0. Now, Jason Giambi, despite his struggles, does not sacrifice the strike zone. And he will make Carmona throw strikes. And this is one instance where if Giambi doesn't put the ball in play, you almost get a sense that he'll walk to force in a run. Because I don't know if Carmona can throw him 3 strikes before 4 balls. There's a strike, and the count 2-1. 12 grand slams for Giambi, a .308 batting average lifetime with the bases loaded.
Now here's a spot here where Giambi's just got to pick a zone. Carmona hasn't really shown any breaking stuff. It's just predominantly fastball changeup. If he gets a zone that he likes, he should be able to get a good swing on it. Maybe yank one on the upper deck right here.
And a ground ball to first. Let's see if they can turn 2. There's 1. Back to first. Not in time. Giambi beat it out. And a run scores. The Yankees have a 1-0 lead. Giambi just beat it out. Carmona thought they had the 3-6-1.
Carmona does a good job of busting off the mound to get over there to cover. One of the toughest plays for a pitcher is the back end of a double play ball right there. And, ooh, close. Looked like he might have had him. Giambi busts out of the box, the best he can run right there. Carmona does his job, gets there. Bang, bang play. He thought he got him. Well, Carmona's showing good quickness. Giambi busting it, as I said, as best as he can. And that's a bang, bang play. Looked like on the first replay, he might have got him.
Brian Gorman, the first base umpire. And Melky Cabrera with a slow roller first base side. Fielded by Carmona, and he tags him on the way by for the final out of the first. All things considered, Carmona, who spikes the ball, can't be that displeased. 1 run and 2 hits. 2 men left at the end of 1-0 Yanks. New York Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by the Range Rover Sport by Land Rover, designed for the extraordinary. Avis, the official rental car company of the Yankees, and by Infinity, luxury and performance that stir the soul. It's just been a beautiful day here in New York. Looks like the weather has finally turned. Here's Ryan Garco, and the pitch is outside 1-0. Yankees are 12-4 this year when they score first. They lead 1-0. Any mental advantage to having even a 1-0 lead?
Yes, draw first blood. It's always a big thing. We used to talk about that in the clubhouse before games. Let's score first. Let's be the first one. Set the tone. That's why your leadoff hitter Johnny Damon's so important on this particular team. That's what's really driven the Yankees over their recent 3-game sweep in Seattle, was the top of the order. Johnny Damon getting it going, Derek Jeter stepping up, as we talked about in the pregame show, Bobby Abreu.
Grounded right back to Pettit. 1 away. Hey, tonight's closed captioning brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lexus dealers. Bobby Mercer, who's in the studio with Bob Lorenz, was saying over the weekend that Billy Martin would do anything to score first, because and if you think about it and you break it down, it's so simple. If we score 1 run, the other team has to score 2 to beat us. So he wanted to get on the board first at all costs.
Well, it makes a lot of sense just from a psychological standpoint too for your bench. You feel like you come out early, you take batting practice, you're getting ready, you study the scouting reports.
Hits to Gutierrez outside.
You feel like your homework has been rewarded when you get up there and you execute in the first inning and you get to the opposing pitcher, get him in the stretch right away, get somebody on base, and you score a run. Psychologically, it's a huge advantage.
There's a strike. Count 2-1.
I'm kind of interested, obviously being the former pitcher that I am, Michael. I always check out the catcher and Jose Molina and how he and Andy Pettitte are going to work, if they're on the same page, the signal calling. And I know from having talked to Jose Molina and Andy Pettitte that they do trust each other. Even though Jose Molina is relatively a new Yankee, he comes in with a lot of respect. He commands respect by the way he receives the ball, the way he calls pitches, the way he frames the ball. And pitchers just inherently are going to respect a guy like that because he works so hard for him behind the plate.
2-2. Strike 3 inside corner. Gutierrez down looking.
And this is the bread and butter. Molina sets up inside. There's that little cut fastball. Good framing job. He presented it to the umpire very well. That ball is just right on the black or just off the black. And that's a great sign for Andy Pettitte if he's going to get that pitch called for a strike tonight.
Here's Travis Hafner, and Hafner hitting .209. And the Indians are struggling offensively. They've dropped Hafner down to the number 6 slot in the lineup. And the general thinking in the Indian organization, we can do whatever we want with the other players, is Hafner is not going to hit. We're not going to win. We're not going to score enough runs. He is the linchpin of the entire lineup. He should be batting 3rd or 4th, and dropping him to 6th out of desperation, he's just not doing it.
Well, we've seen, in the series in Cleveland that we did, Michael, we've seen that Cleveland's lineup is predominantly right-handed, and they have a hard time with their left-handed hitting power, and Hafner is really it. Grady Sizemore leads off. He's more of a leadoff hitter, but this guy they really counting on to be the run producer. And you get down in the latter part of the games, the Yankees right-handed bullpen matches up well against them.
And you saw those numbers that we just put up on the screen. I mean, they're near the bottom of the American League in all offensive categories. You just can't do it. Average runs, on base percentage, 325. That's just too low. And the sack bunt, so you can see Eric Wedge is doing anything. He's 2nd in the league in sack bunts, trying to scratch out any run he can.
Well, makes you think a couple of things. One, maybe last year they overachieved. Maybe they just weren't as good as they showed last year. Secondly, some of the production has fallen off, especially the power numbers. Victor Martinez had 68 extra base hits last year, and I think he's still searching for his first home run. Travis Hafner, we showed his power numbers. It's been more than just on base percentage.
1-2, missed inside.
They're having trouble with extra base hits, power numbers, which they showed promise last year. They came very close to making it to the World Series. Maybe they just overachieved a little bit last year. It's hard to say, but their power numbers are definitely down through the first month of the season.
2-2. Pettitte does a 360, finds the ball, flips to Giambi, and he's been perfect through 2. 6 up, 6 down for the Indians. We go to the bottom of the 2nd inning here at the stadium. It's the Yankees 1, the Indians nothing. You are watching Yes. In an effort to put less strain on Babe Ruth's leg, on May 4th, 1931, the Bambino moved to first base and had teammate Lou Gehrig take his position in right field. In the end, however, the Yankees captain committed an error in the outfield that helped the Senators to a 7-3 victory over the Bombers. Your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Nice of the Iron Horse to move to right. 1-0, bottom of the second. The Yankees lead, bottom third of the order for the Yankees against Carmona. Here's Cano. Robinson continuing to struggle, although he had a home run on Sunday. Maybe the tide starting to turn just a bit. 4 for his last 38. Still on the internet at 154. On the interstate, not the internet. Now, people hear that phrase a lot on the interstate. What that means is if you're batting under 200, it's like you're on I-95 or I-75, and the I is a 1. That's why the players say I'm on the interstate. Now, a pitcher wants his ERA on the interstate.
Interstates, yeah, definitely you want your ERA on the interstate. And your batting average doesn't matter as much if you're a pitcher.
That one's tapped in front of the mound. Carmona fires a fastball at Garco. Are you amazed by Michael Owens, how he could hit?
Well, he is the exception to the rules. You see Cano just pound that sinker straight down off a home plate and just kind of puddles out there. And Carmona's quick. He's a good athlete, good fielder. Snap throw, easily gets Cano first. But yes, to answer your question, boy, he looks like the real deal in terms of a hitter. He makes you wonder, he's going to get some more pinch hitting appearances as a pitcher.
Let me throw this at you because I know you have a great appreciation for what pitchers mean. But Michael Owens is probably a number 3 starter. What's more important, a guy who can play 162 games or a number 3 starter?
Well, if he keeps coming off the bench in pinch hitting roles and he keeps hitting home runs, it's going to be hard to hold him back. And it's nice in the National League style of game where you do need more pinch hitting. Certainly the pitcher's spot comes up a couple of times during the game, so he's going to get opportunities to hit.
And he can pinch hit the other 4 days.
He will get more utilized in the National League than he would in the American League, that's for sure. Obviously a different style of game and the designated hitter rule.
Well, what do you think is tougher to come by? A guy who can hit 300 or a number 3 starter?
It's a guy who can hit home runs, I think, is the more important thing.
1-1. Betamete swings and misses. Betamete was on the DL with conjunctivitis, which is a nice way of saying pink eye, and just had a rehab stint down at AAA. Came off the DL today, and they sent down Alberto Gonzalez, which was a tough call for Joe Girardi because Gonzalez really did everything well. He fielded the way he was supposed to and really hit much better than they thought. Betamete with a fly ball to right. Gutierrez puts it away. 2 outs. And this is Betamete's first game since April 13th, and his first at bat in the big league since April 8th. That is some bout with pink eye.
That is. You kind of get the sense Girardi, the manager, wanted to get him right in there, see what he can do. He's known for his bat as opposed to his defense, like Alberto Gonzalez.
You might see a little bit, and you heard Kim Jones's report on the pregame show, a little bit of a platoon situation. Betamete's a switch hitter, but he's much better left-handed. So he could start at third base against righties until A-Rod gets back, and then you could start Ensberg at third base against left-handers. Molina grounds one up the middle. Peralta to Garco, and a 1-2-3 inning for Carmona, who settles down. He retires the Yankees in order on just 8 pitches. We go to the third. Yankees 1, Indians nothing. Have two more games against the Indians tomorrow night and Thursday afternoon. Then the Yankees fly out to Detroit, and it's a 7:05 game on My 9 on Friday. And then Saturday is on Fox 5 at 3:45. And then Sunday on Yes at 1:05. Ben Francisco has worked the count even at 1-1. Francisco just got called up. The Indians designated Jason Michaels for assignment. Slow roller third base side. And it's a base hit. So the first base hit against Pettit. The only chance the Yankees had was if that would roll foul, and it didn't.
See Andy Pettit, that's right off the end of the bat. I think it was a little change up, way out in front, and he couldn't have just tossed that out there any better. Jose Molina goes ahead and gives it a shot. But really, there was no shot. Sometimes you get those changeups, Michael, and he's way out in front and just barely cue it off the end of the bat, and it just goes maybe 20 feet. There's really nothing you can do about it. Andy made a good pitch. Now you got a base hit and man on first.
Here's Kelly Shopick, a late addition to the lineup with the scratch of Victor Martinez. Now, we mentioned earlier that Andy Pettit has had problems with right-handed batters, and we tried to explain it in Cleveland, and probably can best do it up here with David having the baseball. It's hard to master at the same time a cutter and a changeup, simply because your wrist is in a different spot, David. For the changeup, it's almost at 12 o'clock, right? Yeah,
it really is. It's at 12 o'clock, and you almost want to pronate to be able to get the type of spin on the ball that you want it to run down and away to a right-handed batter. That's really what he's had problems with. You know, it's about a disciplined wrist position, to be able to master that wrist position to get the ball to spin the way you want it to.
Pitch is high. So how's the changeup go?
Well, if Andy throws his changeup off the side of his hand, almost like a circle type changeup, and when he gets around it, it'll cut and run back towards the middle, and that was the home run we saw in Cleveland, the Johnny Parada 3-run homer. He's got to be able to get his wrist position right on top to be able to pronate and get the type of spinning down and away from a right-handed batter. Otherwise, he gets around it. If his wrist gets a little lazy or around the ball, then that's going to create a little cut spin, and it's going to run the ball right back up and out over the plate. And that's the problems he's had with home run pitches.
Now, how would he hold the cutter, though? It would be a little bit of a different angle with the baseball, right?
The cutter would be the exact opposite. You'd want to be around the cutter a little bit. You'd want to have this wrist position on the side of the ball just a little bit to be able to manufacture just a little bit of right to left spin in order to get the ball to bore in or sort of what we call boring action in on a right-handed batter, as opposed to the opposite, where you'd want your wrist position back up on top to be able to get inside the ball, to get the other way, the left to right spin, to make it sink down and away from a right-handed batter.
And almost muscle memory would dictate it's hard to do both, because your wrist is going to go one way if you keep throwing the cutter, and then if all of a sudden you want to throw the changeup, it's got to be different. You've got to pronate in.
It is different. It is very hard. It's been hard for Andy to master because he does get around the ball a lot. He does manufacture a lot of left to right spin on his fastballs, a lot of cutting, boring type fastballs, and that's his natural slot. And he's really had to fight to be able to manufacture just the opposite type of spin, to be able to get inside the ball a little better, to be able to turn it over, sink it, change ups down and away.
And we've seen that with two Yankees, because when Andy Pettit came up in '95, his best pitch was his changeup. And although people might find it hard to believe, and it's so long ago, when Mariano Rivera came up, before he was taught the cutter, his best pitch was a changeup. And Mariano's told me, he says it's very difficult to have both of them working at the same time. He said if you're going to master one, you almost have to give up the other.
Easier for a reliever to do that. You know, a starting pitcher still needs to control both sides of the plate and find a way to get to the outside corner on righties.
2-2. Just missed. Home plate umpire Jerry Davis thought that was inside, so the count full of 3-2.
We see the patent cutter. Molina setting up inside, and that, you know, it looks kind of like a straight fastball, but it's really got just a little bit of cut spin on it, and that's Andy's signature pitch. You know, he needs to complement that pitch, though. To protect the integrity of that great cutter, he's got to get to the outside corner with a changeup or a sinker.
How about getting to the outside corner with a backdoor cutter?
we've seen him do that in the past, and he hasn't shown that so far this year as much. Either backdoor breaking balls or backdoor cutters. You know, it's something he needs to think about, can sort of rethink his approach to right-handed batters. You know, he's been dominating against left-handed batters. Predominantly, he's going to face right-handed hitters, and he's got to rethink his strategy.
3-2. He struck him out. Looked like a cutter. One away. Second strikeout for Pettit.
One of the beauties with Andy's cutters, it does something different every time. That one actually looks more like a slider. Some of them go down, some of them cut across. This one almost looks like a Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning type slider that Yankee fans in the 70s remember so well. See the depth on that sort of a pitch. And we always seem to say Andy throws a cut fastball, he throws a cut fastball, but the cut fastball does something different every time. Sometimes it's more slider-like, sometimes it's more four-seam-like. You know, that's the beauty of the effectiveness of his pitch.
Here's Damaso Marte. Now let me ask you this, David. What's the difference between a cutter and a slider?
A slider is just where you actually turn your wrist over even more, and it takes some of the velocity off the pitch, and it's a little bigger break to it.
So it'll go down more?
It would go down, it would have more tilt and more depth, and it would have less velocity and a little more spin on it.
Now coming into tonight, Andy's really struggled in the stretch with men on base. Opponents are hitting 377 against him. With the bases empty, they're hitting 236. And you could do anything with these numbers. I mean, there could be blips on the statistical radar screen, or it could be something, hey, he's not comfortable working out of the stretch this year. And really, when you come up with a reason, it's kind of a guess. There's no surefire reason why he's struggling out of the stretch.
Yeah, there really isn't, other than, you know, when you're in the stretch, usually there's base runners on, and if you make a mistake, there's going to be more than one run scored, as we saw in Cleveland last time. You make one mistake with a changeup, it's a 3-run homer, and the game changes.
Runner goes. Throw to second from the knees. Got him. What a throw by Molina. And a good catch and tag by Cano.
Well, I don't think people at home know how difficult this is. This is a really good jump. Molina just does not have time, throws from his knees, and definitely got him. Nice play by Cano to come up and meet the ball. But you watch this play by Molina. I mean, this is so quick from his knees, all arm strength. That is tremendous skill that he makes look so easy. And a nice play by Cano to come up, as I said, meet that ball and make a quick tag.
The 0-2, check swing.
You know, sometimes you underestimate what kind of skill these guys have, especially Molina and catchers and second baseman's making quick tags. Molina's pumped up right there, as he should be. Just tremendous skills.
We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that has a good chance to be the play of the game. I know it's bold, but you never know. The 2-2.
Well, the degree of difficulty to be able to make that quick of a transfer and throw from your knees, all arm, certainly is very high. So, you know, it wasn't your normal average run-of-the-mill type throw a guy out at second. That was a quick release, all arm. Tremendous level of skill and difficulty.
High fly ball, left field. Damon over. And he'll make the catch for the final out of the third. No runs a hit, no errors, and nobody left on base because of this play. From his knees, Molina guns down Ben Francisco. We go to the bottom of the third, 1-0. Files, TV, internet, and phone. A combined 11-0. What a matchup. I mean, and you're going to watch it on Yes for free. Coverage at 6 with the batting practice show. 6:30 pregame show. 7:07 first pitch. Cliff Lee against Chin-Ming Wang. Look at Lee's ERA. 0.96. Wang's not too bad either. That should be fun.
A little early Cy Young preview there.
Johnny Damon leads off against Carmona, and there's a strike. One nothing, Yankees lead. Damon has been hot of late, an 8-game hitting streak.
See that 391 on base percentage. You know, and he's healthy this year too, Michael. You know, Johnny Damon came into spring training healthy. And you see the top of the order there. They have really just stepped up with the injuries to Posada and A-Rod.
And they've had to, David, because the Yankee lineup is a lot shorter now without the two guys you named and with the struggles of Cano and Giambi. The top four have to do it as Damon swings and misses. And here's Derek Jeter. Jeter with an infield single up the middle. That was in the first inning. 12 for his last 27. He's now scored a run in at least 6 straight games. At least 1 run. Pitch inside.
Kind of sense that Carmona and Wong are very similar in terms of their styles, sinkers.
Inside out's the ball the other way. A diving try by Garco. He can't get there. Let's see if he's okay. Tony Pena tends to him very quickly. He went all out.
See Carmona here just busts Derek in, beats him with an inside fastball. That's just a scrape job, just a belly flop, and that's kind of rough, that dirt that goes around the warning track, kind of filled with pebbles and rocks. And maybe jammed his neck up against the wall there a little bit.
Almost made the play. Sacrificed the body for the ball. Looks like he's all right.
I was saying Carmona reminds me a lot of Wong a couple of years ago. You know, just a great devastating sinker that he really relies heavily on.
There's a strike.
There's a look at his first slider right there. Kind of a flat little slider. He doesn't feature it a lot. Predominantly sinker, heavy, hard, mid-90s, two-seam fastball, and a changeup.
Now, we were supposed to be joined in the booth today by John Flaherty. And his little guy, Brian, fell under the weather today. And they had to check him into the hospital, but he's home now watching the game. Tough little kid. So, Brian, we're glad everything worked out, and John will be back here with us tomorrow.
Great. I was looking forward to seeing Flash. I'm glad to hear that everything's fine with his family.
Brian, a big Yankee fan. He keeps score of every game, so I know he's in front of the TV now. And the count 2-2.
Probably charting pitches.
Yeah.
You know, Flash being a catcher, you know he's into this pitcher-catcher relationship, and I'm looking forward to working with Flash this year, because I know I enjoyed playing against him and watching him. I know he was a thinking man's catcher, and it's such an integral part of the game. These two guys right there, the pitcher and the catcher and the sign calling.
And the count 3-2. And here's the full count delivery. Try to tie him up inside, so Derek Jeter works a walk.
See the frustration on, that's Carl Willis, the pitching coach right there, and he's seen a lot of that from Carmona this year. Great stuff, but just kind of loses hitters, has a hard time putting them away. He's walking a lot of guys this year. You kind of see his frustration. Pitching coaches kind of have a helpless feeling every now and then when you're on the bench and trying to get through to a young guy to trust his stuff and throw it over the plate.
And the pitch to Abreu is a strike. Count 0-1.
But I was saying, comparing Carmona to Wong, and you know, coming into this year, we've made a lot of Chien-Ming Wong and his development of his secondary pitches, coming up with a slider and splitters, and really learning how to pitch. And you kind of get that sense with Carmona. He's just out there on stuff, electric, great stuff, but he still needs he's kind of learning how to pitch still. How he's going to go about it, how you're going to put away hitters when you get ahead of them, how to jump up and be aggressive and get ahead of them, and also how you're going to finish hitters. What kind of finish pitches are you going to use?
And the 1-1. Chopped to short. Let's see if they can turn two. There's one on to first. Not in time. That ball wasn't hit hard enough, but they turned it so quickly that they almost got the double play.
See, Abreu pounds that sinker down into the ground. High chopper to short. Comes and gets it. A really quick turn by Jamie Carroll there. And Abreu runs well, gets out of the box quickly. You're right, Michael. They did just about all they could do right there. Abreu's just still too quick. Nice burst through the bag right there.
Here's Matsui, single to center in the first inning. Trying to keep Abreu close. It's 1-0. Yankees over the Indians in the bottom of the third.
A great on-base percentage, .416 for Hideki Matsui, and quietly just put together the streak.
But people forget, he started very late in spring training because coming back from knee surgery, so he was about 10 days behind everybody else in terms of getting into games and then playing innings in games, and he's gotten out of the box very quickly, which bodes well because he's usually a pretty good finisher, and he's already at .330 now with a 15-game hitting streak. And a strike, count 1-1.
He's got a sense of humor too, you know, that the bet he had with Jeter about who would get married first, and you know, Matsui getting married during spring training of all things this year. Michael, I've never heard of that. Guy's gonna check out of spring training for a couple days, go up to New York and get married, and come on back down and collect his bet from Jeter. I asked him what the bet was, and he told me it was 10. I don't know if that meant 10,000 or what that was, but
it should be something significant to make you do something like that.
But I asked him, and he said 10. I said 10 what? And I looked at Jeter, and he looked at me, and Matsui said 1,000. And I said Jeter disagreed though. He didn't. I don't know if he's going to pay that one up or not.
I think Abreu was also in on the bet. I think it was a three-way deal. The 1-1. Yeah, it was definitely. The whole thing was shrouded in mystery. Takes off one day from spring training, gets married, then will not show a picture of his wife, has an artist conception of it, and a little odd. But we wish them the best.
I'm sure you've got a few artist conceptions of your girlfriends, don't you, Michael?
Not really, David. Funny how you use the word plural. Yeah. The 1-2, runner goes. Throw to second. Got him. Good throw by Shoppett. And Abreu is out trying to steal 2-6. So for the Yankees in the third, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. We go to the fourth. It's 1-0 Yankees. is who has hit the most career home runs for the Indians at Yankee Stadium. And we will find the answer out in the bottom of the inning. Grady Sizemore leads off. Pitch inside, 1-0. 1-2-0 for the Yankees, 0-1-0 for the Indians. Yankees scored a run in the first. So far it's held up. Pettit against Carmona. High fly ball, shallow center. Back is Cano, and a pretty basket catch with his back to home plate to put it away for the first out. Kind of Jeter-esque there.
Yeah, maybe he's rubbing off on him. This is not an easy play. A good pitch by Andy Pettit in on his fist. Cano's got to get. That's the only way he can go. Like Willie Mays in the World Series back in the 50s, I believe that was, Michael. But I'm not going to let the facts get in the way of a good story here. But this is a heck of a play by Cano. That's the only way he can do it. And Melky was not going to get there. As you can see, he's got to look straight back over his back and just sort of time it and make a little basket catch right there.
Well, David, it was right across the river against the Indians in the World Series when Willie Mays made that play against Vic Wertz. Here's Jamie Carroll. That was in the Polo Grounds, where I think it was 480 to center field. And now there are apartment buildings there. That one is laced into right field. That's going to be a base hit. Fielded on one hop by Abreu. So Carroll is on with a one-out single. There's Johnny Peralta. Peralta was originally batting fifth, and Victor Martinez was in the number 3 hole. But Martinez scratched with a stiff neck. Now the Indians are trying to do anything to generate offense. We told you about the 11 sack bunts, and Peralta looking down at third base coach Joel Skinner. They're going to hit and run. They're going to try to squeeze out runs any way they can because the power's not there. The average isn't there. Now you mentioned that there's a trust factor between Pettit and Molina, and of all the pitchers on the Yankee staff, it would seem that Pettit is the guy who needs it most because, you know, I've talked to John Flaherty about this, that Andy, there's no way to say this to make it sound, but he doesn't want to think on the mound. He wants to get the sign and throw it. He doesn't want to think the game. He wants the catcher to think it. He wants to trust his catcher to put down the right sign.
Yeah, and I think Andy had a great matchup when he was in Houston. He had Brad Ausmus catching him. It was a really kind of similar to Flash, a thinking man's catcher who calls a good game, a guy you can trust. And I know Andy trusts Jose Molina, and Andy would prefer to kind of, as you see there, that was a shake off. Molina told him to shake him off right there. Sometimes you get a shake from the catcher.
Why does a catcher tell a pitcher to shake him off?
You're just trying to get into the hitter's head a little bit. Sometimes the hitter sees a pitcher shake off. The catcher will just shake his head and instruct Andy to shake his head, just to kind of play with the hitter a little bit, make him think that, you know, he might be going off the fastball to throw a slider, or just kind of add a little deception, a little mystery into the hitter's head. But Andy's the type of pitcher, as we were saying, he likes to look down, get that sign, give me the target, tell me where you want it, as opposed to worry about pitch selection. You know, he's more of a pitch quality guy. Worry about the quality of the pitch more than the pitch selection.
Now, you were a guy who wanted to think on the mound.
I did, because, you know, later in my career, early in my career, I didn't. We had a situation like that in Boston earlier this year with Buchholz and Varitek, where Buchholz was shaking off Varitek a couple of times, and Varitek kept giving him the same signal, and then he ended up throwing a curveball, and A-Rod got a hit off of it, and Varitek gave him a kind of a stern look on the field. But, you know, with Andy, it's different. Andy's the type of guy who wants to pull that hat down, put that glove up in front of his face, and trust that catcher. That's generally a sign of pickoff move to first. As we saw earlier, a shot of Rob Thompson, the defensive coach, giving signs in the dugout. And, predominantly, the running game is called from the bench. Rarely does a pitcher throw over on his own, or will a catcher call a pitch out on his own. All of these plays are called from the bench, and generally the running game is handled by the coaches on the bench.
That one's driven deep to right center field. Going back, Melky Cabrera. Still back. Track. Wall. See ya. A 2-run home run for Johnny Peralta, and the Indians now lead 2-1. wondered if they were paying too much attention to the guy at first.
Johnny Peralta hurt him again, and you see Molina set up away, and that sinker just cuts back out over the plate again. Andy's having a hard time getting that ball to stay away, and Peralta drives it the other way this time. The ball just kind of drifted back towards the middle of the plate. The same thing we were talking about earlier in this segment, Michael, about the different grips and the wrist position. That's been Andy's bugaboo so far to right-handed hitters.
Garco fouls it back.
Saw Molina there set up down and away and wanted a sinking type pitch down. Definitely off the plate or on the outside corner, and the ball just kind of drifted back towards the middle. And Peralta made him pay again.
And the 1-1. Lofted to right field. Coming on, Bobby Abreu. Slides. He can't make the play. Catches it on a hop. Nice play to keep that ball from getting behind him and holding Garco to a single.
You see Pettit tries to come inside. Kind of jams Garco there, and he fights it off. Garco's a strong hitter. Abreu really gets pretty lucky there to be able to keep this ball in front of him. Kind of gets caught in between. Is he going to make the play or not? Good hand-eye coordination to adjust at the last minute here and get the short hop and keep that ball in front of him.
So now Pettit will face Gutierrez, who struck out looking in the second. 2-1, the Indians lead the Yankees on the Peralta home run. Grounded foul outside of third.
Now, one of the keys, Michael, in terms of, we were talking about the catcher and pitcher relationship, one of the keys here is Andy just threw another two-seam fastball away that cut back over the plate, and he gave up a home run. Now, Molina's got to stay on Andy because he knows to get out right-handed hitters, he's going to have to go back to that pitch. And a lot of times in this situation, when you feel like you don't have a feel for the outside corner on righties or your sinker, you just start getting cutter happy and wanting to throw that pitch.
Well, let me throw this at you, David. The guy's had unbelievable success throwing cutter after cutter after cutter. Why is he messing around with the outside corner?
Well, this success is partly due because he's gotten better on the outside corner. So definitely in Houston, and he's evolved over his career to where he has, more than on occasion, been able to control the outer half of the plate on right-handed batters. He's done it in the past. That's when he took it to the next level, when he was able to command both sides of the plate. And so far this year, he's kind of struggling.
The 0-2. Still 0-2.
Now, there's nothing wrong with featuring a cutter and pitching off of your cutter, but you have to protect the integrity of your best pitch. And the way you do that is you've got to be able to have something that moves the opposite way. You know, I keep using the Nintendo analogy when kids at home playing video games. If the joystick's stuck one way, sooner or later hitters are going to make adjustments to that. It's the same speed, it's the same type of break. You've got to be able to protect the integrity of his great cutter by throwing changeups, by throwing sinkers. This is the type of thing you see, as we talked about before, where they're having trouble. Molina and Pettit are having trouble getting on the same page here. You see Andy wants to stay with that cutter, as you said, Michael.
The 0-2.
And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. That's his best pitch. That is his bread and butter. But at the same time, you've got to have something to feature off of that pitch, just to keep hitters honest. Major league hitters will adjust if you throw the same pitch over and over with the same type of break and the same type of velocity.
1-2. And he got him on the cutter for the second out of the inning.
See, this is more like a slider. You see it's got a little more depth, a little more break. It's down and in off of the plate. Gets Gutierrez to chase on definitely a ball. You see Molina's glove move down and in. That's about 6 inches off the plate. It's got a little tilt to it. That was more slider-like.
And now he'll face Travis Hafner as Garco remains on first. That one gets away from Molina. He does not know where it is. Rolls up the third baseline. And Pettit retrieves, so a wild pitch.
Looked like Molina got caught off guard here. Like he thought he was going to catch it. Like the ball was going to get there in the air, and he didn't know whether to block it or turn his glove over. To me, that's more of a pass ball. And Molina just got caught in between. He was late to react to this. He thought the ball was going to reach him in the air, and he didn't turn the glove over or get into a blocking position to try to keep the ball in front of him.
Now that scored a wild pitch. At the end of the game, let's say the Yankees win, would you call upstairs and say that wasn't a wild pitch, it was a pass ball?
I wouldn't take it upon myself to do it, but to me that's a pass ball all the way.
Check swing.
You know, I didn't have that much gumption to call up to the press box and get on guys. Although Bill Shannon, I did get on him one time. He called a base hit and a no-hitter I had late in the game one year. He called it a hit. I thought it was an error. That was probably the only time.
Swing and a miss. He called it an error.
Yes, there was a chopper down the third base line. That was a tough play. It was an in-betweener, but it was late in the game. I think it was in the 7th inning. I had a no-hitter with the Mets, and he called it a base hit.
I'll call it a hit.
He called it a base hit.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
I'd say, wow, he's really altruistic if he called up there. Did he change it?
No, he didn't. He didn't change it.
1-2. Strike three. Hafner down looking. But damage in the inning against Pettit. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. And 1 man left on base. A home run by Johnny Peralta turned a 1-0 Yankee lead into a 2-1 deficit. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The question was, who has hit the most career home runs for the Indians at Yankee Stadium? And the answer is Larry Doby, 20 home runs at Yankee Stadium. Pitches outside, 1-0. Larry Doby broke the color line in the American League right after Jackie Robinson, I think about a month after. And a lot of people felt that he never got the proper credit because he went through the same things that Jackie went through. It was in July. Jackie started the season with the Dodgers, but Larry went through those same trials and tribulations and was a really nice man and an outstanding player.
Yeah, the great Buck O'Neill, who ran the Negro League Hall of Fame in Kansas City, just raved about Larry Doby. He thought he was more of a natural hitter than Jackie Robinson. Jackie was a great all-around athlete, but Larry Doby was a solid player and a really good hitter.
He was on that last Indians World Championship team in 1948, 7-time All-Star and inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1998. The 1-2. Count 2-2. And here's Larry's number being retired, number 14. No one will ever wear that again for the Cleveland Indians. Real classy gentleman. Fouled off in front of the plate.
With Abreu getting thrown out at second last inning. Number 14 right there, Larry Doby. As Michael said, he was a classy man. I got a chance to meet him running through Cleveland, through the American League over the last decade. Actually, I'm getting older than that, Michael. It was more like the 90s. A couple decades ago, Larry Doby would come out to what was the old Jake.
Now it's Progressive Field. Larry Doby actually worked in the front office for the New Jersey Nets for a lot of years.
As we were saying, Matsui's at bat got saved. Last inning, had 2 strikes on him, and Abreu got thrown out at second, so he gets a fresh count here.
Matsui, Giambi, and Cabrera here in the bottom of the 4th. The Yankees down 2-1. The 8th pitch of the at-bat is upcoming. And Carmona deals. Check swing. Did he go? No, said Sam Holbrook.
Really a great night to pitch tonight too, Michael. As you see Giambi there on the on-deck circle. He's got a little taste of summer today in New York City, almost up to 80 degrees. Very, very nice, warm night to pitch at Yankee Stadium.
Three-two, and he walked it. Only the second walk issued by Carmona. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, looking on. Giambi drove in the Yankees' only run when he hustled and beat out what could have been a 3-6-1 inning-ending double play with the bases loaded.
Kind of sense pitching coach Carl Willis of the Cleveland Indians is a little bit like our manager Joe Girardi with the Yankees. His heart's on his sleeve. You can read his face and his frustration.
Watching Joe now. Joe stands on the almost the top step of the dugout, and he's giving the signs to Bobby Meacham. Sometimes Joe Torre would have the bench coach give it, so people would be looking at him, and the sign was actually be given somewhere else. But Joe's going through the signs right now, all by his lonesome, as Robbie Thompson stands next to him. Count 1-2.
You can kind of see how tough Carmona is, how hard it is for Giambi to square up that sinker. The fastball's right there, right in the middle of the plate, and at the last minute it dives. And that's really the key, Michael, is that late movement in the strike zone. There's a lot of pitchers that can throw moving fastballs that move before they get to the strike zone. Carmona's strength is right at the plate. That ball explodes.
Driven out to left field and deep. Going back Francisco. It's over his head. One hop up against the wall. Matsui's at third. They're waving him home. Here's the throw. It's way offline. It's a game-tying RBI double for Giambi. And it's a 2-2 ball game. That's Giambi at his best, David.
Yeah, we've been talking about him going the other way. Gets a sinker, stays down on it, drives that ball the other way, and he knows it. He's gonna have a gapper and a double. That ball is definitely smoked. That's the deepest part of the park. He hits that ball 397 feet. Gutsy move by Bobby Meacham there because the shortstop's got the ball right there. He just couldn't get the transition and get a good throw to home plate. It's a good relay right here. The shortstop's got the ball. Matsui's at third, but he just can't get anything on that throw when it's up the line.
Well, they must have a report on him because he was just hitting third and the shortstop had the ball, waved him home. Cabrera takes a pitch inside, 1-0. That was Jason Giambi's first extra base hit in 8 games. But he's driven in both runs for the Yankees. A grounder and that RBI double. Tries to bunt and misses. Count 1-1. Now this is a play. I wonder what your take is. I hate a bunt here. There's nobody out. Why won't you swing away? The worst you should do is pull the ball. You might get a base hit and turn it into a big inning. If you're trying to bunt, you're giving an out away.
Yeah, this is almost like the old National League style play when the pitcher's hitting and a man on second, nobody out, that it's almost an automatic bunt because the pitcher's hitting. But you've got Cabrera who's had a good start.
And they took the bunt off as he swings over the top, 1-2.
Well, Cabrera has been kind of a spark plug for the Yankees so far this year and swinging the bat very well. Sometimes the manager just wants to get the defense moving a little bit. You can see the third baseman's backing up now. Well, there's the defensive alignment right there.
And see, did his job. Giambi goes to third. Cabrera's out, and Cabrera will be greeted in the dugout as if he just got a base hit because he gave himself up and moved the runner over. And the entire Yankee team moving to that side of the dugout, led by the captain, Derek Jeter. That's good baseball.
See Joe Girardi, the manager, all the way down to the end of the dugout to high-five Melky Cabrera there. Shelley Duncan stirring it up.
Kevin Long says good job. You get that kind of greeting, you'll continue to do stuff like that. You know there's positive reinforcement at the end of a job well done. Now it points off your average, but you did your job. That one gets away from Shopik, but not far enough away. Now the Indians have the infield in. They're trying to cut this run off. They're in on the left side. Well, everybody's about halfway because Giambi's not that fast at third, so they have more lateral movement this way.
They're definitely playing in, in enough for the play at home.
And because they're in, it squeaks through the left side for a base hit. Giambi scores an RBI single for Cano, and it's 3-2 Yanks. Infield in turns a hitter into an even better hitter.
Definitely the percentages go up. We've seen Cano get pounded in. He stays. This is really his strength. He's kind of a dive and reach type of a hitter. Covers the outside corner so well. And with the infield in, you're right, Michael. Your average goes up by 100 points or more on average. We've seen Cano get pounded in. Really, the last series with Seattle, and a lot of American League pitchers have been trying to pound him in a lot and test him. And he gets a pitch away there. That's his strength. He's kind of the opposite of Derek Jeter in terms of a dive and reach.
Hits the Betamete. It's a strike
type style. You see him, he's a timing hitter. He reaches out over the plate, really flat through the zone, level a long time through the zone, stays on that pitch, gets it in the hole for an RBI. Now, I almost view Cano as kind of having the opposite style of hitting as Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, we've talked to on a number of occasions, is a guy who insides out the ball, a guy who brings his hands in close and really takes the inside pitch and hits it the other way, where Cano's more of a rhythm, dive, and reach hitter. Really covers the outer part of the plate well.
Betamete with a ground ball to second. They'll get the lead runner. That's all they'll get. Smart play by Jamie Carroll because the runner had to hold up to not get hit in the ball, so he knew he could keep the runner out of scoring position. Here's Jose Molina. First pitch he saw in the second inning, grounded it to short. So the Yankees answer the Indians 2 runs with 2 of their own. So Carmona doesn't do his job. When your team scores, you want to put up a 0 that next inning and do it quickly. But instead, the Yankees have rallied to retake the lead. 64 pitches for Carmona. Pitch to Molina outside 1-0. And it all starts, and I mean, this is a baseball adage that goes back 100 years. You don't start the inning with a walk. His 7th leadoff walk this year for Carmona comes around to score. He walked Matsui on the 3-2 pitch. 1-0. 2-0.
You get the feeling that the Molina family had a bunch of extra catchers that's hanging around their house when they were growing up. I mean, what a family of catchers they have.
Amazing. Benji Molina of the Giants, Yadier Molina of the Angels, and Jose Molina here of the Yankees. All 3 of them with World Series wins. Ground ball up the middle, a base hit for Molina. Betamit makes a turn at second. We'll stop right there.
Confidence builder there for Jose. He's been struggling after starting the year so well and had 8 doubles in 2 weeks, it seemed like, in the first part of April.
Rory down at the end of the dugout.
Yeah, he's not down there coaching. He's looking for sunflower seeds, looking for something to eat, something to chew. Stevie Donahue, the longtime trainer, assistant trainer for the Yankees.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. If I had said Yadier was on the Angels, I misspoke. Yadier obviously is on the Cardinals, and Benji and Jose used to be on the Angels. Now Benji's with the Giants, and Jose is here with the Yankees. Just want to get the Molina baseball cards right.
Well, they were well coached. They all throw for their knees. We saw that great play Jose made earlier in the game. And they all have similar catching styles, great defensive styles.
Along with David Cohn, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball here on Yes. We thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us. It's Yankees 3, Indians 2. Bottom of the 4th inning. Grounded foul. Now I know the pitcher's answer is always going to be, I'll take the runs and deal with sitting on the bench for a while, but does it set you back a little? Do you get stiff sitting on the bench that long?
Well, not really. You should be able to do things to keep yourself going, keep yourself up and into the game. You know, Andy's having no problem there. You know, I'd sit in that bench right now. I'd take another double in the gap right now if I were pitching. Certainly, you take all the runs you can get. You know, it's very rare that you're sitting on the bench hoping that your team makes an out. You know, unless it's just a blowout game and you're later in your career or later in the game and throwing a lot of pitches.
But can you fall out of rhythm sitting there that long?
You can. That's why I always was a big believer in being the first one out of the dugout and getting to the mound and getting as many warm-up pitches as you can get in between innings.
So they pretty much time the time rather than the 8 pitches, right?
Yeah. Nowadays it's more about time in between innings. Usually 2.5 minutes for commercials. Obviously with TV. But you know, used to be able to. You know, Andy Pettitte does this too. But the minute that third out's made, if it's been a long inning, you get out to the mound and you can get a few extra warm-up pitches in between innings nowadays.
30th pitch of the inning coming up. And Damon wraps that one into left center field. A diving play by Sizemore. Probably takes 2 runs away from the Yankees. Outstanding catch by Grady Sizemore. Yankees scored 2 runs. They would have scored more, but a nice play by Sizemore, taking an extra base hit away from Johnny Damon. Jason Giambi got an extra base hit. Melky Cabrera moved him to third, and Robinson Cano threw the drawn-in infield. A little ABC baseball as we go to the 5th. 2 starts in the 5th inning. Now, I'm going to throw a question at you, which is, again, only a guess. Is Ian Kennedy doing better because the competition is such a drop, or is he doing better because, as he said, he's not under the microscope so much tonight?
Well, it was a wake-up call for him. You know, that's what the Yankees wanted to do. You know, they were on him about being more aggressive, throwing more strikes, getting deeper into the games, and he just couldn't do it. And you can't stay in the big leagues unless you can get deep in the game. The most important stat for a starting pitcher is innings pitched.
Chopped short, Jeter. 1 away. You saw on the Corona Extra scoreboard, Yankees leading the Indians 3-2.
So maybe he got the wake-up call. You know, here's your sign. Hey, this isn't going to work on the big leagues. You need to go down. You need to prove yourself. You constantly have to prove yourself in this game. Andy Pettit's in that position right now. No matter what level you attain, whether you're a rookie or a veteran, you've got to constantly prove yourself in this game. And Ian Kennedy got a wake-up call, and he's responded to it down there tonight.
It's about 2.5 hours away, but it really is a world away. And his mind wants to be back here. His body wants to be back here as well, but if he doesn't pitch well in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, he's not coming back.
You know, it's hard to say. I used to say when I was in the minor leagues, Michael, that a good game in AAA could translate into a good game in the major leagues. We saw that with Rasner the other day. Aside from the home run he gave up in the 1st inning, he really pitched well. He made 6 innings look easy. He had a game plan. You know, the difference between what I saw from Rasner and what I saw from Kennedy in his first 5 starts were really Rasner had a game plan, as you see him right there. He threw his breaking ball for strikes to both sides of the plate, threw his fastballs for strikes. He got his curveball over when he needed to, mixed in his changeup. He really had an idea, and he looked like he knew what he was doing, whereas Ian Kennedy didn't have that look to him.
Tried to check a swing, did he? Yes, he did, said Brian Gorman. You decide. I've seen less called strikes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those borderline calls. Could have gone either way.
1-2. 2-2.
You know, umpires talk about the intent. You know, it's not about the old break your wrist kind of a call. It's more about intent. Was his intention to swing at that pitch? And according to Brian Gorman there, he thought it was.
I think that's a ridiculous interpretation, though. Your intent always is to swing. That time he doesn't and takes strike on the inside corner. Hey, tonight after the postgame on Yes, stay tuned for Yankees on Deck with new host David Cohn. See what your favorite Yankees do off the field, get baseball tips from the pros themselves, and learn the science of the game with Professor Al Leiter. It's Yankees on Deck tonight after the postgame only on Yes. Host your own show.
That's big.
That is. It's gigantic.
I don't know about Professor Al Leiter, though.
Must be a very low-grade college.
Yeah. Nutty professor, maybe. Yeah.
Al will join me in Detroit over the weekend. And the 1-1. 2-1. Pettit with 5 strikeouts, tied his season high.
You know, we can see in the sequence, Michael, where Molina's trying to get Pettit to work in and out, trying to backdoor his breaking ball to righties. Wants some way to get to the outside corner.
Tried outside there and missed as Marte works a walk.
See
76 pitches.
Got his pitch total right there. You know, we can talk till we're blue in the face about Andy and his style of pitching and his cut fastball and what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are. But the bottom line is that he's still, in order to get deep into the games, he's still got to command both sides of the plate. He's got to find a way to get to the outside corner to right-handed batters.
Pull to first. And Jambi steps on the bag, and Andy Pettit does something he's been unable to do over the last 2 starts. He escapes the 5th inning unscathed. We're halfway through. Yankees 3, Indians 2. And yes, Yankees take on these Indians in Game 2 of 3 from the Bronx. Complete coverage starts at 6 with batting practice today, followed by the Tri-State Ford pregame. Then join us back here in the booth for the play-by-play. Indians, Yankees, it all starts tomorrow night at 6 right here on Yes. And what a pitching matchup. Cliff Lee against Chien-Ming Wang. Corona Extra scoreboard. Yankees lead 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Pitch by Carmona, a strike, with Derek Jeter leading off. Big crowd here at the stadium. Yesterday, an off day for the Yankees. They're riding a 3-game winning streak after suffering through a 3-game losing streak. Chopped over the middle, Jamie Carroll fields. Off-balance throw, they get Jeter, and they retire him for the first time today. He'd been 1 for 1 with a walk. There's Bobby Abreu. Abreu walked in the first and then grounded into a 6-4 force in the third. Count 1-0.
Got Jerry Davis behind the plate, veteran umpire. He's always been kind of an on the plate, more of a pitcher's or a hitter's umpire rather. From my memory banks, Michael. A lot of borderline pitches tend to go the hitter's way on average. Another kind of hardliner, old school guy, doesn't take a lot of gruff. You look at him wrong, stare at him wrong, say the wrong thing to him, he'll run you out of the game. He's been around a long time. He's been very consistent as well.
Greatest pitcher's umpire you ever had?
Without a doubt, Dutch Rennert. Dutch Rennert was very consistent, but he would call that ball off the plate all night long. And he was the old school National League style umpire where he would give you a few inches off the plate. If you threw the ball on the inside part of the plate, you better be on the plate. But if you hit that target all day, he would call it.
Would he have survived Questet?
No.
So he was calling ball strikes?
Absolutely. Well, it was consistent. He was calling a consistent strike zone. And, you know, that's the main thing for players and managers and coaches, is just to be consistent. Let us know where it is.
And Carmona walks. It's strange, David. You could see Carmona walks Abreu. Carmona, when he walks me, he's overthrown. It seems like, you know, he's pushing the ball up there, goes up and away.
That's exactly right. You know, and he has tremendous talent. I mean, he's 6'4", he's 230, he's got a great pitcher's body. He throws mid-90s, two-seam heavy fastballs. But you get that sense he's still learning how to pitch. He's only had 1 full year as a starter in the big leagues. He's still going to have to develop a la Chien-Ming Wang has over the last couple of years. And when he hits rough stretches, he's going to have to learn how to back off, take a little bit off, and just basically learn how to pitch.
There's that same deal again, and Chopik runs out. The walk to Abreu, the 4th walk of the game for Carmona. And in 6 of his 7 starts, he's had at least 4 walks.
You know, part of that too, Michael, is you see Carl Willis there. We've seen that look on his face all night. And I think part of that frustration is because Carmona has such a great arm. He does have tremendous explosive type stuff.
1-0. He's really missing outside the lefties. What is that a manifestation of?
Well, to me, that's more concentration.
And here comes Willis.
Part of it's mechanical, but part of it's concentration. Part of it's being able to slow yourself down, to control your body, to control your body, your rhythm on the mound.
Now, you always see when it happens with pitchers, they lose the strike zone, you're flying open. What does that mean?
Well, when you're flying open, you know, one of the things you have to do for a right-handed pitcher is drive that left shoulder to the target as long as you can. At some point, it's going to have to vacate and open up. You just don't want it to open up too soon. When you break your hands in the middle of your delivery, there's a little glide towards home plate, and that's when you hold that left shoulder in there as long as you can, and then you let it clear, and that allows your arm time to get back up on top of the ball and throw the ball downhill.
Now, when it opens up, does that mean you're trying to get too much on the ball?
Generally, yeah, you're overthrowing, or you're a little lack of concentration, a little loss of sense of your body control, sense of rhythm.
Let's see if Willis straightened him out, the 2-0. Ground ball right side, it finds a hole, a base hit. Bobby Abreu's going to go for third. Gutierrez comes up throwing. Out! What a throw by Gutierrez. And they just got Abreu. Second out of the inning, and here comes Joe Girardi to argue with Sam Holbrook. Girardi saying tagged him on the thigh and his leg was in there.
You see Matsui shoots one in the hole over here, and Gutierrez has got a great arm. I mean, he fires that on the fly. It looks like Bobby gets hung up in the mud a little bit there.
Looked like he had that foot in before the tag.
It looked like he did get at the corner of the bag. He didn't come in with a hard slide. It looked like his spikes almost get caught in the mud right here a little bit, or on the dirt. He kind of gets slowed up. Very close bang-bang play.
Take another look. I think he was safe. Pitch to Giambi's inside 1-0.
It almost looks like right here you see that spike kind of start bouncing up off the ground and bounce down again. And that's very close. He might have got his toe in there on the corner of the bag. I thought his slide hurt him there.
And when it's that close, it's hard to argue with the umpire, but I was kind of stunned because Gutierrez has such a good arm that they were going for third. But I mean, if you're going to make an out at third, the second out is the out to make. So he's taking a chance on that, where he would be at third and he could score on a fly ball by Giambi.
Yeah, and it was a ground ball in the hole. It wasn't as if it was a line shot to right field. I mean, that was a sort of a five hopper that got through the infield. The grass was sort of chewing it up, so Abreu, strictly on his own, made the read and chose to go.
And Giambi walks. You know, one thing that that might have influenced the way Abreu slid is Marte at third completely deadpanned, as if the throw wasn't even coming. And maybe Bobby Abreu picked up Marte, not even reacting if the ball was coming, and didn't slide with urgency. Look at Marte just standing there.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't come in hard with a hard slide. It's like he's just sliding to slow himself down. He kind of gets caught up and bounces instead of a quick direct slide into the bag.
And the pitch to Cabrera is a strike. That is Gutierrez's first assist of the year. He had 3 last year. Count 1-1. Melky is 0 for 2 today, but he did his job his last time up, moving Giambi over to third where he scored when Cano singled through the drawn and infield. So that ground ball to the right side made the infield come in and got Cano an RBI single. 1-1. 1-2. Jorge Julio is ready in the bullpen. Nice block by Shoppett.
See with Carmona there, you know, predominantly, as we said before, you know, a fastball type pitcher, sinking pitcher. He does go to his changeup there to try to finish off left-handed hitters. Took a couple of shots there. Had the confidence to throw it in the dirt. But that's about it. Pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher, occasional slider.
2-2. foul back. I don't know if Carl Willis would be a real good poker player. You read his hand right away. Two. He always has that look of exasperation when the pitcher's struggling a bit.
Well, you can see him rushing. You can see him just kind of lose his concentration a little bit. Little sense of rhythm, as we said before. His tempo gets a little quick when he starts firing the ball all over the place. He's missed high. He's missed low. He's missed wide quite a bit.
Well, the runners will go on 3-2 and 2 outs. And he struck him out. Big strikeout for Carmona. And Willis breathes a sigh of relief. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left, and this might have derailed the inning as Bobby Abreu gets called out at third on the throw by Gutierrez. We go to the 6th. Here at the stadium, and the Yankees lead the Indians 3-2. Yankees with 6 hits, the Indians with 4. Jamie Carroll leads off against Andy Pettitte. The first pitch outside, 1-0. Andy's got a pretty good pitch count at 78 through 5. Missed outside again, 2-0. Now you give the Yankees 6 these days. That's not bad. Yankee bullpen in its last 8 games a 1.63 ERA. Opponent's batting average of 172. They've had 11 consecutive scoreless innings. A very solid group of late. The 2-1. There's a strike. The count 2-2. Carroll, Peralta, and Garco. A 2-2. Line drive right at Bettamy. 1 away.
See, Andy comes inside with the cutter. Jamie Carroll's ready for it. Hard line drive. Unfortunately, hitters aren't in the game of production, as Kenny Singleton likes to say. You just, or at least direction ready. They're in production. They don't direct where the hits are. That's a good piece of hitting, and unfortunately right at him for Jamie Carroll.
There's Alex Rodriguez still nursing that quad strain.
That was Singy's big saying, wasn't it? Hitters are in production, not direction. Thought I heard him say that a few times. Hitters just try to produce line drives, hard hit balls. They aren't in the game of directing. Kind of makes sense.
Now I know Kenny's listening. He'll text me whether or not he said that. I think all of our crew is listening. Flaherty, Leiter, Singleton. It's a team.
Produce a line drive, you can't direct where it goes.
I'm guessing O'Neill's not watching.
Think Kevin Schmoller and John Moore have that argument too?
Broken back, ground ball. Jeter. And Giambi could not come up with the scoop. And that'll be an E6. And Derek has made some sketchy throws from shortstop this year. He has not had a lot, well, as many true throws as he usually does.
Very uncharacteristic. Tries to throw on the run. He has a kind of threw off his back foot there. I've seen him make that throw 1,000 times. Just the wrong type of bounce to Giambi too. Just got a little too close to him on the short hop and kind of got a high kick. Giambi normally pretty good at scooping balls in the dirt, and that was a tough one there.
So now you've got a runner in scoring position with 1 out rather than 2 outs and nobody on. Does a pitcher have to fight it now and go, you know, I shouldn't be in this jam?
Well, my thought was it's time to pick up your defense. You know, Derek has done so much for Andy Pettitte throughout the years in terms of his defense and his hitting, and here's the chance to, as a pitcher, to really pick him up after an error. That's the way I would look at it. There's nothing worse than if you're a starting pitcher to your teammates and you send that message of showing up your hitters, or the kind of that woe is me, oh, you made an error behind me, I shouldn't have to face this guy. That's a bad message to send to your teammates, as opposed to the other message, hey, I'll pick you up right here, no problem.
Remember the time your buddy David Wells did that and Jeter actually took him on the mound? I think it was in Baltimore.
Yes, it was. And David Wells learned something right there that day about Derek Jeter. He went to him and said, hey, I'm back here. I got your back. If you show me up on the mound and you keep staring at me, if I make an error behind you, we're going to have problems. And I thought that was important. And that's almost the day Jeter became captain of the Yankees. And, you know, he showed that kind of fortitude.
1-2. A broken back, humpback line drive to Cano, 2 away. Shattered the bat. Pettitte had to get out of the way.
Cano kind of has duty at second base there, holding the runner. Good cut fastball, broken bat. Little humpback line drive. Cano's got it. See the pitch, kind of up and in. Watch out.
The one guy I didn't mention, of course he's watching the game. I didn't feel I had to mention it because he's doing the pre and post game show, is Bobby Mercer. So I just got a text from Lorenz that said Mercer's storming around the office throwing things because you didn't mention his name. So, Bobby, I'm sorry. Bobby Mercer will be with Bob Lorenz on the post-game show, and Kimberly Jones as well.
No, he's really going to club you over the head.
He really is. Here's Gutierrez. He has struck out twice against Pettitte. Count 1-0. And you could just tell, David, that's the pitch he feels most comfortable with. I mean, he just throws that a lot.
It is, and he's almost pitching this inning as if it were the 9th inning. He's got a 1-run lead. You got a man on second base, and he's a veteran guy. He knows he can't let this game get tied up right here.
1-0. Count 1-1.
So in other words, Michael, this is almost like the bottom of the 9th and 2 outs for Andy. Even though his pitch count's under control, and they may run him back out there for the 7th inning. He's pitching this at bat in this particular situation as if the game were on the line.
Along with David Cohn and our entire Yes broadcast team, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on Yes. Top of the 6th inning. Yankees lead 3-2. And the 1-1. Upstairs 2-1.
Does that go for past broadcasters too, Mike?
Absolutely.
We got a few guys that are retired maybe watching.
Let's hope. And the 2-1. Popped up. Shallow right center. And Andy is going to get out of it as Melky puts it away. So Pettit survives Jeter's 4th error of the year. And Andy Pettit likes what he sees. Big inning for him. Looks it into the glove. Job well done. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's time for the game summary presented by Sharp Aquas, the official HDTV of Major League Baseball. Andy Pettit on the mound, looking strong early. Derek Jeter with an infield hit. Jose Molina with an outstanding defensive play. And Andy continuing to deal with that one mistake there. A home run by Peralta. The Yankees got it back. Some small ball, and it all adds up to Yankees 3 and the Indians 2. That's where we are here in the bottom of the 6th inning. New pitcher for the Indians is Rafael Perez on a relief of Fausto Carmona. So Carmona can lose. He cannot win this game. Perez, one of the 2 lefties in the bullpen for the Indians, and the numbers are not as good as he is. He happens to be an outstanding pitcher. This is his 16th game. 16 hits in 15 1/3 innings. In 5 1/3 innings career against the Yankees, Perez has allowed just 2 hits and has not allowed a run. And Robinson Cano takes a fastball outside 1-0. You've got Cano, Betemit, and Molina. By bringing in the lefty, Eric Wedge knows he's going to turn Betemit around to the right side. So you counter the lefty Cano with the lefty, and then you turn Betemit around to his weaker side. Count 1-1. RBI single for Cano his last time up. He's 1 for 2. The Indians bullpen in relief of Carmona has not been good. 8.20 in relief of Carmona. In fact, that's the 3rd highest ERA of any bullpen for any starter. Clay Buchholz, the Red Sox, their bullpen is 10.06 for Buchholz. And San Diego's Greg Maddux, the ERA is 9.00 by the bullpen in relief of Maddux. Trevor Hoffman actually blew Maddox's 350th win with a blown save in the 9th inning. And I think you're always going to see Maddux have higher bullpen numbers because he doesn't go very long in games. I mean, he's maybe a 5+ inning pitcher, and you're expecting the bullpen to get 12 outs. That's a lot of outs to get. 1-2.
Yeah, you're leaving a lot to chance right there. You know, Maddox is an efficient pitcher, ground ball, put it in play, sinker type pitcher. On good days, he can get a little deeper into the games, but at his age now and the point of his career, he is going to rely on a lot of help down in the bullpen.
And the 1-2. Popped up. Shallow left, Peralta out. Francisco in. And Francisco with the call on the catch. Hey, if you get a chance, stop by and visit our friends at J&R Music and Computer World.
You can see why the Indians are so high on Perez. You know, kind of lanky, slinging type lefty. A good moving fastball, late moving fastball in the strike zone, and tight little slider. Kind of a slinging type motion.
And the pitch to Betamit, a strike.
Generates a lot of arm speed with that delivery.
Well, Ian Kennedy's final line for his outing tonight for Scranton Wilkes-Barre is in 7 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, no walks, 89 pitches, 58 strikes. And he had a no-hitter through 5 2/3. What a difference an A makes.
There is a big difference, but I tell you what, there's also a message in there too, and the message is he got the message. No walks is the thing that jumps out to me right there. Everybody loves to throw a no-hitter for 5 or 6 innings or complete it or strike out 8 guys, but really no walks. 89 pitches, 58 strikes.
Maybe he just feels a lot more confident in his stuff against AAA players. Maybe the intimidation of big leaguers forced him to be too fine.
Well, all of these are possibilities, but one thing is clear. That he got the message. He got a wake-up call and said, hey, you're not entitled. You have to prove yourself up here. Despite all the hype and the Generation Trey and all the marketing campaigns and everything that's gone into the buildup of 3 young Yankee pitchers, you know, right now we're down to Generation Uno. And Ian Kennedy got the message. You know, and he went, that's how you respond. You go down there and this is what you do. You be aggressive. You prove that you deserve another shot. And that's really what's happened here. He's gone to the back of the line. And Rasner's moved ahead of him.
Grounded to third. Marte. 2 away. Competition never a bad thing, David, because now Kagawa will take Kennedy's spot in the rotation. He knows that Kennedy just pitched well. Put pressure on him to perform this weekend against Detroit.
Well, I thought Joe Girardi, the manager, said something really interesting in his pregame press conference today. And he said, look, the guys that are here now are the guys that are pitching. If they continue to pitch well, then that's the way it's going to be. And, you know, that's not verbatim or that's not a direct quote, but it was along those lines of, hey, the guys that are here now, if they continue to pitch well, meaning Rasner, and then, as you said, Kagawa will jump into the 5th slot. Rasner's really the guy. He jumped right to the 4 hole from AAA, you know, almost before his first start. And he justified it in his first start. That's a guy who's paid his dues and has deserved his chance. Ian Kennedy will get another chance. And that's how you respond. You get sent down to AAA and you go down there in your first game and you have that type of outing. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And he's going to have to earn his way back.
The 1-0. 2-0. Jorge Posada on the DL, but talking things over with longtime battery mate Andy Pettit. Jorge pretty much is serving as a coach for the next 5 weeks as he rehabs tendonitis of the rotator cuff.
What they're talking about right there is about selection. How about the mix of pitches, type of certain pitches in certain situations, what was working, what type of sequences did I have tonight. He's going over that with Jorge right now. And they're going over with, I had trouble getting to the outside corner again. I had a couple two-seamers, especially one, the Peralta hit for a home run, was another two-seam fastball that was supposed to sink, and he cut back over the middle. And they're talking about sequences. How do I get to the outside corner to righties? Do I need to backdoor that cutter? Do I need to throw more breaking balls? The days that the sinker and the changeup aren't there. Constantly have to make adjustments, and it's all about pitch sequences with pitchers and catchers. They're talking right there. Jorge's talking. You can see him with his wrist there. He's talking about that changeup or that two-seamer that's cutting back over the middle of the plate. And he got burned again tonight with that particular pitch. And otherwise, he's done a great job. And Andy's that type of pitcher who can pitch without his best stuff and make adjustments on the fly.
It is interesting to watch that conversation, David, because it's very animated. I mean, Andy's pumped up about something.
He's feeling the need to talk, definitely. And the pitchers are amped up during their game. You know, it's your one day to pitch out of 5. And Jorge knows them as well as anybody. And they're going through the sequences. Different hitters, how we approach it. How was my stuff tonight? What was working? What wasn't? What kind of adjustments I'm trying to make? Sometimes the catcher has to be part psychiatrist too.
So a walk by Molina. Now here's Damon. I was wondering, you know, he's airing his laundry out to Jorge. Would that bother Molina that he's not talking to Molina? Obviously, Molina was at the plate right then.
No, it's good because Posada knows Pettit better than anybody. And so that's the type of guy you can trust to talk to about what was going on in your head. What were you thinking about in certain situations and sequences?
Nice pitch there by Perez, 1-1. Johnny has an 8-game winning streak, or 8-game hitting streak, and he's 0 for 3 today.
You know, Michael, for pitchers, at the end of the game, I'd go home after I pitched a game, and it's always about shoulda, coulda, what sequence went wrong. I should have thrown this pitch when I should have thrown that pitch. It always comes down to that for starting pitchers. Really, any pitchers, for that matter.
Boy, Andy, it's like he's hosting a talk show there. Now he's talking with Robbie Thompson, the Yankee bench coach.
You know, and Andy's talking right there. What they're talking about is if we're going to pitch a certain hitter a certain way, I want my defense aligned a certain way. Meaning, you know, I want my shortstop cheating towards the hole when I'm throwing cutters into righties. Or if I'm going to face a lefty and I'm throwing breaking balls, he might pull it. I want my second baseman over a little more.
And Damon down on strikes. So Andy Pettit will turn that talk into a 7th inning of pitching. We go to the 7th. He'll try to protect a 1-run lead. Yankees up 3-2. Now for the Indians in-game box score sponsored by Heineken. There's just 4 hits in there, and the big blow, a 2-run home run by Johnny Peralta, in the 4th inning. You had hits by Jamie Carroll, Ryan Gargo, and also Ben Francisco. A walk to Andy Marte and a run scored by Carroll. That's pretty much it, as Andy Pettit's done a nice job. So he comes out to start the 7th, and he will deal to Hafner. Swung on a miss, 0-1. Andy has lost 3 straight starts at Yankee Stadium, dating back to his final one last year, as Kyle Farnsworth warms, and then his first 2 this year. And that's the longest losing streak he's ever had at Yankee Stadium. Count 0-2. Now the Pettit-Carmona matchup is actually a rematch of Game 2 of the ALDS last year. That's the game that the Yankees lost to the Indians 2-1 in 11 innings. And the 0-2. Missed outside. Now Kyle Farnsworth had his hearing for a suspension appeal in the offices of Major League Baseball, so the Yankees figure that ruling might come down tomorrow. They might lose him for the remainder of the series, so they might as well get him in today. We'll see if he does see action. The 1-2. I think the only way he sees action is here in the 7th, because if the Yankees hold the lead in the 8th, they'll use Jabba Chamberlain, and then the 9th they'll use Mariano Rivera. And right now, the way the bullpen has flushed out, Farnsworth has become the 7th inning guy. He has pitched very well of late.
Well, that's why he's up following Andy as he starts this inning.
2-2. A broken bat blooper to shallow right is going to dunk in between Cano and Abreu. So leadoff single for Hafner. Hey fans, get another chance to see all the big hits and great plays another time around with WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore later after each game, and again the next morning at 9. It's only on Yes. Saw Bobby Abreu field that ball. He was hoping that Giambi was at first, because he would have tried to gun down Hafner. He had a chance, but Giambi did not backpedal to the bag.
There just wasn't much room for that ball to land in. Cano playing way out deep in shallow right field. It's amazing a little broken bat looper could have landed right in between them, because they were pretty close together. There wasn't a lot of room between the right fielder and the second baseman on that particular hit.
You would have had a hard time throwing it in a better spot than Hafner hit it. There was a very small piece of real estate available to drop a hit in, and he found it. The 1-0. There's a strike. There's that off-speed pitch on the outside corner. Backdoor breaking ball. 100 pitches for Andy Pettit. 62 strikes, so he's in pretty good shape pitch count-wise. And the 1-1. There's that cutter upstairs to count 2-1.
Well, right now, manager Joe Girardi's looking at matchups, hoping that Andy can get this guy out. But if he doesn't, where's he going to bring in Farnsworth?
Tries to hold up on an off-speed pitch, count 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. He worked Francisco off speed that whole at bat, except for that one cutter.
And here's how you get to the outside corner tonight for Andy Pettit. Just a nice little off-speed backdoor curveball, way out in front.
And now Girardi quickly out of the dugout. He's going to call on Kyle Farnsworth, and Andy Pettit will get a nice hand here at the stadium. Girardi has already signaled, and Andy will depart. A one-of-a-kind coffee table book which celebrates the history of Yankee Stadium unlike any other. It includes a heartfelt introduction by Yankees owner George M. Steinbrenner, over 250 rare photos and recollections from some of the greatest Yankees of all time. The New York Times bestseller is the perfect Father's Day gift and is available at Yankee Stadium by calling 1-800-GO-YANKS or online at Yankees.com. Order your copy today. So Farnsworth comes on. Runner on first with one out. He faces Shopik, who fouls it back. Pettit's line not yet complete. 6 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs. Hafner at first is his responsibility. Walked just 1 and struck out a season-high 6. See what Farnsworth has done so far this year, and he has certainly moved up in the pecking order because A, the injury to Bruni, and then B, he's just been effective of late. Because he throws like that.
Yeah, and this kind of gives you a sense of, with Cleveland only carrying 2 catchers. Victor Martinez was scratched earlier because of a stiff neck. Can't really pinch hit here for Shopik. You see David DeLucci there ready, the left-handed batter. He may be pinch hitting for Marte next, depending on what happens here.
Just blew him away. Shopik didn't have a chance.
Boy, talk about Yogi Berra. That's how Yogi Berra used to catch him right there. Look at Jose Medina. Once that target up, standing up. That might have been the last pitch of Don Larson's perfect game right there in 1956. That's a catcher working for you back there. Let me stand up if I have to get you to throw that high fastball.
And Kelly Shopik playing the role of Dale Mitchell. And finding something to smile about. Yankee bullpen's been great over the last 8 games. 1.63 ERA. They've thrown 11 consecutive scoreless innings. Andy Marte takes a pitch outside. Farnsworth over his last 6 1/3, 4 hits and 1 run.
Another situation where Eric Wedge, the manager of the Indians, chooses to stay with Andy Marte against the power-throwing Kyle Farnsworth. He had an option to go to DeLucci here. Decided to wait, save that left-handed bat.
Marte, one time a top prospect with the Braves and then the Red Sox, and traded here, and he was considered. It shows you it's very hard to evaluate young baseball players. He was considered absolutely can't miss, and it was a big trade when the Indians acquired him, but he's missed so far. He's 1 for 14 this year, and the word you get is for him to have any chance to succeed, he has to play every single day. And they like Casey Blake too much, but they are getting him in there. He likes to hit the ball low, so Farnsworth wants to keep the fastball above the knees, because anything low he likes to golf it out. That's the scouting report on Marte. Grady Sizemore on deck.
So when Kyle Farnsworth talk about a new little cutter that he's come up with, a little Mariano Rivera influence.
High fly ball, center field. Right center, Melky's there, and that'll do it. So Farnsworth comes on to get the final 2 outs of the 7th, and Pettit's line is complete. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left at the end of 6 1/2. It's time for the 7th inning stretch at the stadium. Yankees lead 3-2, but stay where you are as we honor America here in the Bronx.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise? Please offer a moment of silent prayer as we remember the service men and women who are stationed around the world, and especially remember those who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. Now, please join Kate Smith as she sings "God Bless America."
It ain't all that.
Yankees lead the Indians 3-2. An impressive performance by Kyle Farnsworth as he continues his elevation in the pecking order of the bullpen. And now he'll turn it over to Jabba Chamberlain. But right now we play the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Yankees try to build on a 3-2 lead. Rafael Perez still in there. And there's Jabba beginning to throw. It'll be Jeter, Abreu, and Matsui here in the bottom of the 7th. Along with Derek Jeter, along with David Cohn, I'm Michael K. Derek Jeter's along too, but he's not talking.
I wish I was Derek Jeter.
You had a pretty nice run. You're watching Yankees baseball on Yes. Yankees lead the Indians 3-2. There's a strike. So what'd you think of Andy today?
I thought Andy did a good job of staying away from the big inning. He made another mistake on a home run pitch, a pitch that was designed to sink, that actually cut on him, that we talked about throughout the game. And that was it, though. He did a good job of controlling the damage. You know, and Cleveland's got a lineup that's struggling right now, so he knew which hitters he could stay away from and which ones he could go after. And did a good job of keeping guys off base. Andy's always good at holding the running game down because he's got that great pickoff move. He had a good cutter, though. He went with the strength tonight a lot, as you said, and it worked.
Jeter rips one to right field, giving chase. Gutierrez one away. Hey, let's take a look at the Yankees in-game box score. It's sponsored by our good friends at Heineken. Bottom of the 6th inning, but check that. Bottom of the 7th inning, they have 6 hits. Derek Jeter 1 for 3 with a run scored. Hideki Matsui 2 for 2 with a run scored. Jason Giambi a big double, 2 runs batted in. He also got one on a ground out, scored a run. And Robinson Cano a single through the drawn-in infield. That's how the Yankees got their run. Jose Molina also picked up a hit. Abreu has walked twice today. He's 0 for 1. And there's a strike. Now, we mentioned the Indians bullpen has not been too great in relief of Carmona, but a nice 6th inning by Perez, and he retires the first one here in the 7th. Previous to this game, 8.20 bullpen ERA in relief of Carmona. That's a weak hack there by Abreu in the count 0-2. Nice slider.
We've seen Cleveland Indian manager Eric Wedge use Perez for 2 innings on several outings this year, particularly against the Yankees. He's not afraid to throw him in there for a couple of innings.
And the 0-2. Held up there. And the third base ump, Holbrook, said he did not go.
But the value of a left-handed reliever that has power stuff, that could get swings and misses, not only with his fastball that moves very well in the strike zone, but that slider. He's definitely a strikeout type left-handed pitcher and a very valuable commodity in today's game.
Strike 3. Abreu down looking. Well, right now the Indians closer is Rafael Betancourt. But Rafael Perez.
See how late that slider moves? Right into the strike zone. Bobby Abreu on two particular sliders in that at bat, just locked up.
And the Indians' game plan when Joe Borowski is healthy, the 2 Rafaels in the 7th and the 8th, and that's a strong finish. Perez could get out righties just as well as lefties, and then Rafael Betancourt has nasty stuff. And Borowski is the closer, but right now Borowski's on the DL and Betancourt is closing. And this is something that Joe Girardi has to live with without 2 right-handed batters in A-Rod and Posada. He doesn't want to, but he's got to stack lefties. And you make it easy for a guy like Eric Wedge to keep in Perez. Abreu, Matsui, Giambi, 3, 4, and 5 are all left-handed and somewhat susceptible to southpaws. You try to break him up, it's kind of difficult. All of a sudden you're moving Cabrera into a section of real estate in the lineup that maybe he's not ready for as the 5th or the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, that's a real value of A-Rod's power right-handed bat, and of course Jorge, a switch hitter. Really gives you so many options, as you said, Michael, to mix up that lineup on any given night.
And all you're trying to do is make the other manager have to make a tough call. As Matsui lines one to left field, it is a base hit in front of Francisco. That's the third hit for Matsui, who is absolutely red hot.
Matsui hangs in there. Fastball out over the plate, stays on it. See, Matsui always kind of looks like he's wanting to leak out, but he lets the ball get back to him. He doesn't get out in front of it, drives it the other way. Keeps his hands back right there. Lets the ball travel to him. Was able to hit a line drive to the left side of the infield. Kind of short hops the left fielder. Got another base hit.
Here's Giambi, who has to feel pretty good about himself. He had that big RBI double to left center. Walked and also drove it around on a ground ball. There's a strike. Told you Matsui with 3 hits, his second 3-hit game of the year and his 8th multi-hit game. And only the Yankees' 34th game of the season. They're 17-16. And the 0-1. 1-1.
This is the type of the at-bat for Jason Giambi. You got a tough left-handed pitcher who can strike you out. If he can hang in there, this will really test his swing right now. He can get a good at-bat, get a good swing on a ball, maybe drive it in the gap somewhere. That'll go a long way towards telling him that he's on the right track and his confidence is definitely on the upswing.
Jensen Lewis warming for the Indians. Mariano beginning to stretch for the Yankees. 1-1. Fouls it off the other way. And the count 1-2.
Well, it all comes down to how you're picking up the ball, especially on a lefty. When you get a lefty on a lefty matchup, you really got to stay in there. You really got to concentrate and see the spin on the ball. And that last pitch, he didn't. It's almost like he was fooled and had an emergency swing. This is sort of the measuring stick for a left-handed batter against a lefty pitcher.
1-2 pitch. Shopik with the block, keeping Matsui out of scoring position.
Well, in other words, Michael, just how well is Jason Giambi seeing the ball right now is what it comes down to. There's been a lot of questions about his production up to now, and he's struggling. And a lot of talk about Jason and Kevin Long, the hitting coach, saying we're getting good at bats, we're okay, I'm going to hang in there, my confidence is in there. These are the tests every now and then that really show you where you are in terms of your swing and how well you're seeing the ball.
Grounded foul.
Perez has given him a steady diet of his breaking ball, breaking stuff. He's shown that he can start it at a lefty hitter and break it over the inside corner. He can also run it away or sort of cut it away. A couple different kind of breaks to his breaking ball. Really tough lefty for Jason right here.
Two. Ripped down the right field line. It is a foul ball. Not much room down there, but the first base umpire, Brian Gorman, quickly signaled foul. About a foot and a half.
Got a little hook on that ball. It was a breaking ball up and out over the plate. Jason lit out in front of it. Got a little hook spin on his line drive down the line. Enough just to take a foul. And Perez has got him set up for an inside fastball right now.
And the 2-2. He threw it, but he missed. And the count now 3-2. That releases Matsui at first.
See Shopik set up inside. He needed to hit that target right there. Perez overthrows it a little bit. Difference between pitching inside and pitching inside for strikes. There's certain times when if you can throw a strike on the inside corner, you can freeze a hitter, especially if you've got him set up. That's what separates the good ones. You can pitch inside for strikes.
Nub foul. Yankees lead 3-2. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Pitching coach Carl Willis suffered through Fausto Carmona's thrill-a-minute 6 innings. Really 5 innings. And then Perez came on in the 6th, and now here in the 7th. 9th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. And the 3-2. He struck him out. There's that slider diving down and away. So good at bat for Giambi, but it results in a strikeout. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Let's take this baby to the 8th inning. The Indians will see Jabba Chamberlain. Season on Yes. We're allowing you to vote along with the two of us here in the booth for the Chevrolet Player of the Game. Text your vote to 58772, and for more information, visit ChevyOffers.com. You can vote right up until the end of the game. Vote now. Make your voice heard. Tonight's candidates are number 1, Robinson Cano, number 2, Jason Giambi, number 3, Johnny Peralta, and number 4, Andy Pettit. Standard text messaging rates apply. Well, Jabba Chamberlain is on the mound. Rousing ovation when he jogged in from the bullpen, and he's trying to hold a 3-2 Yankee lead. Top of the order for the Indians, Sizemore, Carroll, and Peralta. And there's a strike. Started him off with a breaking ball. And it wasn't that power slider, it looked more like a curveball. 12th game for Jabba, 1-1, 9 hits in 12 1/3, and 14 strikeouts. And the 0-1. That was a slider. And the count 1-1. Sizemore's 0 for 3, fly to left, popped to second, and grounded out to first. And that got the ump. And that cannot feel too good. That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't know if Molina was crossed up or he just couldn't move quickly enough.
Well, Molina's set up outside, and Jabba just holds on to it too long, and that is a whiff.
Oh.
There is no leather on that ball, and that's why you wear shin guards if you're an umpire. And even if you have a shin guard, that does not feel good.
He just throws too hard for Molina to get that far across?
Yeah, it's just too quick, and Molina just was not expecting that. Jabba's got generally very good control. He's been hitting targets all year long, and that was just a big miss.
The 2-1. And again, he goes with the curveball, 2-2.
Excuse me, Michael. Jabba's got great command of that breaking stuff, both his curve and his slider. He'll throw it at any time.
And that's why people envision him as a starter, because he has 4 good pitches. He also throws a change. The 2-2 just missed outside at 95. 3 career appearances in the regular season against Cleveland, 4 innings pitched and 7 strikeouts. He's not allowed to hit. He did have the midges attack him in the ALDS against the Indians last year. The 3-2, and he walks Grady Sizemore. Not what you want to do, because Sizemore now is a threat to steal, and Jabba, being a hard-throwing right-hander, is a little slow to the plate.
It was an interesting sequence there. As you see, Jabba comes right out with a curveball for a strike, first pitch strike, then goes to the slider just in off the plate. Now here comes a fastball. It's supposed to be away that just ricochets off the umpire's shin guard. Another curveball, Sizemore way out in front. Takes a shot away with a fastball. Shakes off twice to get to this slider down and in. That's the interesting pitch in the sequence there. Molina tried to get him to throw a fastball away a couple times. Jabba shook him off twice to get to the 3-2 slider. Certainly questionable in terms of you don't want to put Sizemore on, but also shows you the confidence that Jabba has in that slider.
7 stolen bases for Sizemore, been caught once. That was by Jorge Posada. And Carroll bunts first base side, and Jabba tosses to Cano. So the sacrifice is successful. You score at 1-4. That's the 12th sack bunt for the Indians this year, as they try to create any kind of run scoring ability.
Well, Jabba, we talked about Jabba and his moxie. You know, we've described him as a guy that just looks like he belongs, and he's not afraid to shake off catchers. You know, he's developing himself as a major league pitcher. There's a lot of talk about starter or reliever, but right now in this game, he knows what he wants to throw. If I'm on the bench and I see a 3-2 slider that walks a guy like Sizemore, that's second guess material. You know, the old school was make him hit his way on, but at the second time, you don't want to take away that confidence that Jabba has in his breaking stuff.
Here's Peralta, and there's a strike. 98 miles an hour. Now Sizemore, a threat to steal third. In his career, opponents are 2 for 26 with 13 strikeouts with runners in scoring position against Chamberlain. The 0-1. Buzzes a fastball inside. Peralta has accounted for both Indian runs in this game, a 2-run home run in the 4th inning off Andy Pettitte. Yankees lead 3-2. We're in the top of the 8th.
In this situation, if I'm pitching right now, this is the guy I'm not going to let beat me. And you don't give in to Johnny Peralta.
A lot of breaking balls for Chamberlain. And obviously he's got the good fastball tonight, anywhere from 95 to 98, but he's thrown more curveballs than we've seen him throw most of the year, and the slider as well.
Well, it's sort of pick your poison here. You don't want to put the go-ahead run on base, but Johnny Peralta's their best hitter going right now, at least in this lineup, with Garco on deck and first base open.
2-1. And the count 3-1. As Peralta lays off the slider. First base is open, but as David said, that puts the go-ahead run on base. The 3-1 pitch. Doing off-speed pitch there. 3-2. And Molina wants to go out and talk this one over rather than flash the center.
See, he wants it down and away, gets it right down the middle. Peralta's fooled by it. 3-1, fastball count, and that just goes to show you right there. I have no problem with this thinking at all. With Garco on deck, who's been struggling, I like that matchup better. Peralta's hit a couple of big home runs already against the Yankees, 2 against Andy Pettitte. There's one guy in this lineup with Victor Martinez out that you don't want to let beat you. It's that man right there, Johnny Peralta.
Sizemore leads off second. Jabba trying to keep him close. Breaking ball again. Peralta tried to pull it.
It's the second time Molina's been out to talk to Jabba in this sequence. Make sure they're on the same page. Pitched him very carefully. Pitched pretty much backwards the entire at-bat, meaning breaking balls and fastball counts. You get to the point, Michael, after a couple of foul-offs where, You almost talk yourself into a fastball here. You think maybe you can sneak one by him. But once again, you got to stay with your strategy.
3-2. He did go fastball, but up in the zone. And Peralta works a walk. So 2 walks in the inning for Chamberlain. And now Dave Island wants to talk things over. Molina and Chamberlain have talked a lot in this half inning. And now Island wants to make sure that they're on the same page. Hey, fans, keep it here on Yes. Following the last out for the Nissan postgame as Bob Lorenz and Bobby Mercer give you detailed analysis of this matchup with the Indians. And Kim Jones will go into the clubhouse for exclusive interviews with the key players. It's the Nissan postgame right here on Yes. Why is there so much dialogue between Molina and Chamberlain?
Well, I think it all started with the leadoff hitter with Sizemore. Jabba shook him off 3 times to get to a 3-2 breaking ball and walked him. And that was the second guess material right there. So right then, Molina knows that he just got shaken off twice. Jabba's still a young pitcher. He's still learning how to pitch, still learning how to be a situational pitcher. And in this situation, Peralta was the guy you didn't want to let beat you, and they pitched around him. That was an intentional walk right there. Here's the matchup you want. Now you want to get real aggressive and go get this guy right here.
It's Garco. He's 1 for 3. And another curveball, and the count 1-0. He's almost pitching this inning as if he was a starter and this was the second or third inning. Usually, as a reliever, he uses the fastball and the slider, but he's used the curveball an awful lot this inning. The 1-0. Fastball inside, 2-0.
He's thrown a lot of, early in the count, he uses his breaking ball, either his curve or his slider, to get ahead on a lot of occasions this year that we've seen. Missing with the fastball there put him in a hole. Now he's got Garco on a hitter's count. Jabba's got the kind of stuff where he can still beat hitters even when it's 2-0 or a typical fastball count. But he's a 1-inning guy in this role. And every pitch means something with a 1-run lead.
Popped up. Right field line. Abreu makes the catch for the second out. So they get Garco. And that'll bring up a pinch hitter. David DeLucci is going to pinch hit for Franklin Gutierrez.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Batting for Gutierrez, number 20, David DeLucci, number 20.
And that particular call you saw before from Dave Island, the pitching coach, was down to the bullpen to let Mariano Rivera know if this guy gets on or if Jabba walks this guy, you got to be ready. Mo's not up in the 8th inning unless they're going to use him in the 8th inning if needed. That's only with a 1-run lead. If this lead has been maintained, then if something happens here where a run doesn't score, then you might see Mariano in this game. That's what Dave Island was phoning down to the bullpen about.
Now we mentioned in the 7th, a couple of opportunities to use DeLucci as a pinch hitter. Eric Wedge decided not to. He's his lefty bat off the bench today. You have a switch hitter in Asdrubal Cabrera. You've got Casey Blake, a right-handed hitter. Now Victor Martinez doesn't seem as if he's available. If he had been available, he would have pinch hit in the 7th inning for Shopping. Deep drive, right field. Bobby Abreu back on the track at the wall. See ya! A 3-run pinch hit home run for David DeLucci, and the Indians lead 5-3. A shocker against Jabba Chamberlain. That is the 10th career pinch hit home run for DeLucci.
DeLucci's always been a good fastball hitter, and he is quick to the ball. He beat Jabba to the spot. Not that bad a pitch. It was up and in, maybe on the plate a little bit. Jabba's stunned right there. And DeLucci's got a quick stroke with a short porch at right field. Always been a good fastball hitter, always been quick to the ball. And as I said, he just beat Jabba to the spot. And Bobby Abreu, you kind of sensed he knew it. That ball was hit high and pulled enough down the line to where you knew that short porch was going to come into play. Not a bad pitch. It's up. It's definitely inner half. And DeLucci's just a good fastball hitter who beat Jabba to the spot right there. Sort of like a basketball player, trying to get a charge call. He beat the defensive player to the spot. David DeLucci just beat Jabba Chamberlain to the spot right there. And that's a really good piece of hitting.
You mentioned 10 pinch hit home runs now. I'll tell you what, David, that's pretty impressive to turn around a 96-mile-an-hour fastball up and in. Usually lefties like it low.
Absolutely. That's exactly where they were trying to throw it. Maybe Jabba would say after the game he wanted to get it a little more in, but that's just getting beat. Tip your cap. David DeLucci's always been a dead red fastball hitter. He's always had a quick stroke, and he just beat Jabba right there.
Well, the inning really was dictated by the walks, and the walks were dictated by almost an overabundance of curveballs, not just breaking balls, but curveballs, which we usually, there's another one we just don't see Jabba throw. It almost seems like tonight he became a stockbroker that's trying to diversify his portfolio. His portfolio is pretty good with a fastball and slider.
Well, he's got great command and great confidence in his breaking stuff, both his curve and his slider. The one questionable one was the 3-2-1 to Sizemore that led off the inning with the walk.
And that changes the whole tenor of the inning, because you're not that, as he strikes out Hafner, you're not that careful with Peralta unless there's a guy on base. But it falls apart here in the 8th inning for the Yankees. Chamberlain tries to get a fastball past DeLucci, and the pinch hitter drills a 3-run home run into the short porch and right, to the dismay of Chamberlain. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Of dejection. It's the first runs allowed during the regular season here at Yankee Stadium, 15 2/3 innings. It's the first time that Jabba has ever blown the lead in a regular season game in his career. And this is what he was doing, pulling his hair out seemingly after giving up that home run. Only the second home run he's ever allowed in the big leagues, the other one to Mike Lowell, but this one much more costly. And the pitch outside from Jensen Lewis as Melky Cabrera leads off. And David DeLucci takes over in left field, and Ben Francisco will move over to right.
It's a tough thing for a young man to learn, Michael, as a young pitcher with that much success, is how do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with giving it up? It's the first time he's really experienced it at Yankee Stadium. It's a lesson we all have to learn, we all go through. So you see Jensen Lewis's numbers right there. Pretty decent ERA in 13 games. But it's a lesson that must be learned. Sooner or later you knew it was going to happen to Jabba. I mean, nobody is invincible. Nobody's gone through their whole career and had the type of early success that he's had. That is a big home run by David DeLucci. Like I said, the only problem I have in that whole inning was the leadoff walk.
Broken bat, humpback line drive, caught there by Peralta, 1 away.
Well, when you're playing to win the game, Joba's coming in for 1 inning in the 8th inning. Talk about putting the go-ahead run on by pitching around Johnny Peralta there. He got the matchup he wanted with Garco, a 2-0 fastball. He beat him, got the second out.
Jose Veras warming for the Yankees. He'll pitch tonight along with David Cohn. I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on Yes. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. A stunning turnaround as the Indians get to Joba Chamberlain. He allows a 3-run pinch hit home run to David DeLucci, and the Indians lead 5-3. Check swing by Cano and fouled off.
That's part of the learning process. Joba's going to go through it. You saw the dejection, you saw the emotion. That's part of what fuels him. Very disappointed. You can see it in his eyes right there. You saw his reaction after the home run. It's part of the learning curve. He's got to go through it. You got to see how he reacts. Everybody gets tested in this game. It's not so much how he reacts tonight as his next time out.
Now, I was talking to Mark Shapiro, the general manager of the Indians, about Betancourt being the closer, and many people think that Betancourt should have been the closer instead of Borowski because his stuff is so nasty. He said, you never know how a guy's going to be until he blows a save. He said that is the true test of a reliever, how he bounces back from that blown save. And Joba really hasn't to deal with that. He had a whole winter to bounce back from being attacked by the bugs in Cleveland. But we'll see if he pitches tomorrow, how he does react. The crowd kind of in stunned silence. They're not used to seeing Joba get hit at all. We told you. First run scored at him at Yankee Stadium in the regular season. 1-2. Another shattered bat. A ground ball to Garco, and he beats Cano to the bag. So Jensen Lewis coming right into the hands of the Yankee batters.
See Cano getting pitched in. A lot of American League pitchers have been trying to expose Cano inside, both with breaking stuff, breaking into him, and fastballs in. And we've seen him chase bad pitches inside. We've seen him get sawed off quite a bit this year. It seems like that's the strategy, Michael, is that American League pitchers are going after Cano inside, looking for a hole, trying to expose him.
And the pitch to Betemit is a strike from Jensen Lewis. Boy, one swing kind of unplugged 50,713 fans. Very, very quiet. The 0-1. 1-1.
That's what it was. It was a couple of walks in an 0-1 fastball to DeLucci up and in that he just jumped on, pulled it down the line. Yankee Stadium short porch comes into play, and that's a 3-run home run. And there's the pitcher. I know that feeling so well, Michael. I've given up so many of them in my career. I know how dejected that feels, what that dejection feels like. But I also know there's an important lesson there to be learned, and a test, a very important test for young Joba right there.
You still remember the first big home run you gave up?
Yes, I do. I remember giving up a grand slam to Barry Bonds when he was with a young player with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
This was a brand name.
It was a brand name. It was. And I remember my teammates jumping all over me after that, too. It was a harsh clubhouse.
2-2. Lined into left field, a base hit from Betemit. Why'd they jump on me? They didn't like the pitch?
I think they didn't like the way I acted afterwards. You know, but very dejected, got my head down. You know, that Mets clubhouse, it was a different era back then. Guys policed themselves. Guys got on each other much more. Nowadays, the young players, there's almost a sense of entitlement with young players when they come up. Both out of necessity, because you need young players more than ever before. But before, you really had to pay your dues. You had to play that rookie role. And veterans let you know if they didn't like your act.
Here's Molina. He's 1 for 2 with a walk tonight. Jensen deals outside 1-0. Not much maneuvering for Joe Girardi on the bench. He has a 3-man bench because the Yankees are carrying so many pitchers. 9 men in the bullpen, so he doesn't have any lefties on the bench to face Lewis. It's got Ensberg, Duncan, and Moeller. And Moeller has to be held in case you lose Molina, so he's, in effect, got a 2-man bench. His starting lineup pretty much has to do the job. There's very few moves he can make. Betamit getting on, even if Molina doesn't do anything here. At least it ensures in the bottom of the 9th inning, the Yankees have their hitters coming up. Damon, Jeter, Abreu, after that Matsui. So that's why the Betamit hit. It's almost like bringing the pitcher up in the National League upstairs.
Which is what Jabba had to face in the 8th. The top of the Cleveland order, Grady Sizemore, maybe their best player. That's why a lot of people think that sometimes the 8th inning is tougher than the 9th inning for relievers. And the debate about how important relievers or setup guys are. Sometimes you got to give credit to that guy right there.
High fly ball, right center. Grady Sizemore there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the bottom of the 8th. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. Jabba still thinking about that 3-run home run by David DeLucci. Jose Veras is next. Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Acura. Acura Advance. Continental Airlines, the official airline of the Yankees. And by Dodge. You talk, we listen. It's a new day. Dodge. Grab life. That's how a lot of Yankee fans are feeling right now. But the Yankees still have just a 2-run deficit to make up in the heart of the order coming up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jose Veras, though, has to retire the bottom of the Indians order to hold it right here at 5-3. You see what Veras has done, just 1 game and 1 strikeout, has not yet to allow a run. So he'll face Ben Francisco, Kelly Shoppach, and Andy Marte. The runs allowed by Chamberlain broke a string of 12 consecutive scoreless innings for the Yanks. Really 12 1/3 out of the bullpen. The 0-1. Count 1-1. Francisco tonight 1 for 3. Infield single. Roller up the third baseline. Grounded to short and struck out. 5-3 Indians. First game of a 3-game set. Breaking ball. We have a beauty tomorrow that we're all excited about. Great pitchers do. Cliff Lee, who's gotten off to really the best start of any pitcher in baseball, and then Chien-Ming Wang for the Yankees, who's not too far behind. 6 o'clock batting practice show, 6:30 pregame, and 7:07 his first pitch right here on Yes. There's a strike, count 2-2. Chien-Ming Wang 6-0. So he's gotten 6 of the Yankees' 17 wins.
Yeah, where would these two teams be without these two pitchers we're going to see tomorrow?
Indians 14-17 coming into tonight. And Cliff Lee shows you how Ian Kennedy shouldn't get too down. And if you just joined us late, Ian Kennedy went 7 1/3, allowed 1 hit, didn't walk a batter. And his start in Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Cliff Lee was just dreadful last year and got sent down to the minor leagues. And here he is, just lights out this season for the Indians. Popped up. Molina. 1 out.
Ferris showing some good stuff tonight. He's a little more life on his fastball and his slider than I saw last year from him.
So 1 away, and here's Shopik. He's got the hat trick, and you might want the hat trick in hockey. You don't want it here in baseball. 3 strikeouts, and he's trying to stay away from the golden sombrero, which would be 4 strikeouts. A late addition into the Indians lineup when Victor Martinez, Indians' best hitter, was pulled from the lineup with a stiff neck with about 10 minutes to go before first pitch.
You can almost sense, back to the Jabba 8th inning, you can almost sense that he and Molina weren't on the same page. There was a lot of shaking off going. There was a lot of convergence on the mounds that you talked about. A couple of different trips to the mound trying to talk over sequences and pitches. Almost got the sense that Molina wasn't real happy with getting shaken off by Jabba. Jabba's very confident, knows what he wants to throw. As we've said before, he likes to mix up his pitches. A couple of walks, and David DeLucci right there jumps on a high fastball and changed the whole complexion of the game and the crowd.
2-1. Popped up. Broke his bat. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Giambi puts it away for the second out. Hey, Yankee fans, this year when you can't be home to watch the Yankees on the Yes Network, well, check out MLB.TV. You can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market Yankees game of the season live. For more details, visit Yankees.com, where baseball is always on. Here's Andy Marte, who's 0 for 2. There's a strike.
95 miles an hour down at the black on the knees. I don't remember Veras throwing that hard last year. Definitely got good stuff tonight. Sharp breaking slider to go with a mid-90s fastball.
1-1. Fouled away. He's dialing it up.
He's rushing it up there tonight. A good night to throw, as we saw. Probably the first time pitchers can get a good sweat at Yankee Stadium this year. Let's get up to 80 degrees, as we mentioned earlier. A nice night. Your arm gets good and loose on a night like tonight.
And the 1-2. Count 2-2. Betancourt will try to close it out in the bottom of the ninth. The 2-2. Strike 3. 95 right down the middle, and Marte could not pull the trigger. So an impressive 1-2-3 inning for Jose Veras. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Last licks coming up for the Yankees. It'll be Damon, Jeter, and Abreu against Betancourt. The Yankees had a 3-2 lead heading into the 8th inning, then a pinch hit, 3-run home run off the bat of David DeLucci against Jabba Chamberlain, and they're trailing 5-3. This is their last chance to pull it out, and they'll have to do it against the Indians closer, Rafael Betancourt. Their regular closer coming into the season, Joe Borowski, arm bothering him. They put him on the DL, and Betancourt, you can see his numbers are not good. This is his 15th game. He has 2 saves, 12 and 2/3 innings, 18 hits. Now, he doesn't walk people. He has 13 strikeouts. One thing you'll notice about Betancourt, he takes so much time between pitches, and the Indians have tried to speed him up, but he just doesn't feel comfortable. He takes 25 to 30 seconds between pitches, and you'll see. Let's see if the Yankees could really slow him down. It'll be Damon, Jeter, and Abreu. He's got nasty stuff, though. Throws hard. And Betancourt has given up at least 1 run in his last 3 appearances. And that's what Mark Shapiro was talking about. Joe Borowski might not have better stuff than Betancourt, but he might have the stomach right now more for closing than Betancourt does. But Johnny Damon has an 8-game hitting streak that's on the line. He's 0 for 4. And the Yankees would love him to extend the streak, and that would bring the tying run up to the plate.
Betancourt's got the kind of stuff, where he's kind of a fastball and got a little kind of a change-up, split action kind of a change-up, and not much of a breaking ball, which makes him more effective against lefties than righties.
Count 1-0.
Right-handed batters are batting .414 off of him this year with 4 home runs. Lefties only .240 with no home runs.
With Johnny Damon .750 against Betancourt. The 1-0. There's a strike. And the count 1-1. And the pitch. Slapped the other way into the upper deck.
Almost got like a Mike Hargrove routine out there. If he had batting gloves, he'd be adjusting those too. He's got his little twitches. Goes to the hat about 3 or 4 times, shakes out the arm.
And Damon fouls it away. So far this year, it has not been a situation where the Yankees have had many dramatic comebacks. Last year, 40 comeback wins. Bottom of the ninth inning, they're set up well to try to come back in this one. Top of the order. And the 1-2. Still 1-2. We've heard so many pitching coaches say work quickly and throw strikes, but if a guy has it in his mind that he needs time between pitches, the Mets would just badger Steve Traxel about throwing the ball faster or quicker. Just couldn't do it. He just wanted to think everything through. Same thing with Betancourt. They'd like him to work quicker, but this is his deal. One, two. Grounded to short. Peralta. Johnny Damon is 0 for 5 tonight. Well, here's Jeter now against Betancourt. Jeter is 1 for 3 with a walk. And we told you about some of the comeback victories last year. Remember the ninth inning jobs? Right here against the Indians, Alex Rodriguez with a walk-off home run against Joe Borowski. But this year the Yankees are 0-14 when trailing after 8 innings. And that game where A-Rod hit the walk-off grand slam, the Yankees came into the inning down 5. They scored 6 runs, and Mark Shapiro, Indians GM, said that was a litmus test for his team. He said, I didn't know if the team would be able to survive that kind of loss. He said they bounced back, and so did Borowski the next game, saving a game against Tampa Bay. And that's how a team answers skeptics, some even within their own organization. That's a tough loss, the 1-0. Fouled away.
And Jabba will bounce back too. It's a big disappointment for him tonight. The leadoff walk really set the inning up. Kind of pissed around Johnny Peralta, as we talked about. I think Jabba understands that. Sometimes you just get beat. David DeLucci's a good fastball hitter, and he hit a good pitch. Sometimes you just got to give that guy credit. That guy's been around a while, David DeLucci. He's really paid his dues around the league, bounced around, former Yankee at one point.
And the 1-1. High fly ball, center field. Grady Sizemore there, and the Yankees are down to their final out. So Betancourt 1 out away from his 3rd save of the year, and a victory for the Indians in the first game of this 3-game set. This one kind of a shocker because it had a Yankee win feel to it. It's hard to put into words, but you just had a feel the way Pettit was dealing and the way it was set up in the bullpen that they'd come away with a W, and now they're 1 out away from what will be a pretty tough loss. Certainly not devastating, but a tough loss. And the pitch to Abreu.
See, Betancourt's delivery, very deliberate, kind of matches his style. Goes to his hat. Got his little checkpoints, his little twitches out there. And his delivery is very deliberate as well.
There's the strike.
Predominantly a 2-pitch pitcher, kind of a 4-seam fastball. He pitches to the corners, low 90s. Got a changeup, sort of a changeup that's got some split action to it. Kind of goes down.
And the 1-1. Outside 2-1. Yankees just looking for a base runner. Again, a base runner brings up the tying run. And that tying run would be Hideki Matsui. who has 3 hits already tonight. 2-1 count on Abreu. Bottom of the 9th inning, 2 outs. Yankees trail 5-3. And the 2-1. Good fastball upstairs, and the count 2-2.
Shopik setting up outside. This ball drifts. It's more the height, the arm action. Got a little late righting action on that four-seamer, even though he didn't hit his spot. He certainly beat Abreu there on the speed of the pitch and up in the zone.
Two stays alive. Betancourt has a habit, 3 tugs on the hat. There's 1. Two.
No, it was cold enough to blow on your hand tonight. Got away with a balk right there.
And the 2-2. Foul back. What David's talking about, you cannot blow on your hand on the mound unless given permission because of a cold night. And if you do, it's an automatic ball. If there's a runner on base, it's a balk. Very fidgety on the mound. And the 2-2. Making Betancourt work.
It's like you said, Michael, any way you can do to get on base and bring the tying run up. Stay alive. Good at bat so far by Bobby Abreu. The 8th pitch of this at bat coming up.
And the 2-2. Strike 3 right down the middle. You wonder what Abreu was looking for. As the Indians close this one out, the Yankees go down in order 1-2-3. The big blow off the bat of David DeLucci. His 10th career pinch hit home run. This one in the 8th inning, a 3-run shot off of Jabba Chamberlain.
Yeah, that is just a painted down and away fastball, definitely on the plate. Jerry Davis, home plate umpire, has been very consistent tonight. Bobby Abreu just got caught looking right there.
First loss this year for the Yankees when leading after 7 innings. Their late relievers have been great. They were 15-0 in that situation. But David DeLucci changed that. So much more to come. Play of the game, player of the game. Bob Lorenz and Bobby Mercer and Kim Jones on the postgame show. Yankees lose this one 5-3.